Oh, it's supposed to bring. I do have a hat, but
You have a cowboy hat?
I do. Well, it's my travel hat. It's for exciting adventures, like Indiana Jones would have.
Yeah, one does not just wear a cowboy hat unless there is adventures to be had. I gotta take this thing off. It's ridiculous. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. I am not alone. I'm the Uncanny Omar, and with me to my left is my buddy Crisis from Crushing Crisis. How are you, buddy?
I'm so well. I'm so happy to be back with you for an extra video again together this week. And I think we're doing another extra one together next week and so on and so forth. But
Do
it's
it.
hard to get
Do
me
it.
more excited than I am excited for Marvel Omnibuses. So even though you've announced them all already, I have not had a chance to talk to you about them. So this is going to be live friendship magic happening on the air today as I get to enthuse about these books with you.
Yes, 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 yes. Uh, I kept the hat on the entire time I've been filming. And I did get to see the compact announcements. I'm very, very happy about them, and there are more to
They're
come.
gorgeous.
Dude, there's more to come. I can't say which ones yet because it's not up to me to reveal that. That is up to Marvel. But let's just say if you like spider people, you'll be happy. And if you like the wars from the stars, you might be happy. And that's all I can say about that. But yeah, absolutely. I think they're announcing some tomorrow, more compact. So if you're a fan of the price range of $9.99, yeah, yeah, I keep hearing that, but after after the stream, it's already it balances. I don't know why. Weird.
For
The
those of you
three
who did
hour
not
X Men.
see, oh,
Ooh.
that
Oh,
that's
thank
that's
you, thank you.
yeah. No, he's talking about me.
No, obviously he was talking about me.
I don't know if
It,
you streamed about X-Men for 3 hours this week, Omar.
I stream about X Men on 3 hours all the time. Okay, I'm sorry you make a big deal of it. Some of us don't have to make a big deal of it.
Oh, I
Some of us just
suppose
have to
that's true.
wear the X Men shirt, and people already know. Okay, he's
So
probably
you're
talking.
just counting any time you've worn the shirt as you streaming about X-Men for 3 hours is
Whenever
what
I'm
I'm
streaming,
seeing.
I'm talking about X Men. Okay, it's not my fault. No, the premiere line is selling well, and it will continue. This is more for people that want to gift something to somebody that just walked out of a movie or is a big fan of a TV show or whatever. I meant the one from 6 months ago with both of you. So both of us.
Oh, we're
See,
both wrong. Both so selfish,
both so
yet both so beautiful. For those of you who did not actually see the compact announcement, Omar kind of danced around it. Marvel, just on their Instagram and their socials, announced that they're doing a new line of $9.99 cover price compact comic editions of the first year of the Ultimate Universe. So Black Panther, X-Men, Spider-Man, and I believe Ultimates, all as kind of a year one in compacts. The cover and the trade dress is gorgeous. They're that beautiful little tiny size. It's going to be happy in manga loving hands. And it's 4 volumes that each cover one of the series each. I mean, they just are so attractive. Right price point, right material. I think I can think of the kids at Kid Crisis's school library. They're gonna lose their chickens when they see the X-Men one and how much it looks like manga because of Peach Momoko. So very, very cool announcement from Marvel just minutes before airtime.
$9.99, cheaper than any manga you can buy in today's newsstand.
Yeah.
Seriously. And more to come. Like there's gonna be, like I said, Spider people, and there's gonna be some Star Wars stuff. So grab them for people. You know, they're definitely like stocking stuffers, right? I mean, that's what the whole compact line has been to a lot of us. So yeah, absolutely. All hail the magic X-Men gurus. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know how you still have time to comment while looking people in the eye and talking to me. You are a machine. I'm such a sucker for a
Powers of
compact.
neurodivergence, baby.
You do have a mutant ability. Stoked for these. Will be my first jump into the ultimate. Plus, you get 12 issues instead of 6. That's crazy. What's the point of premieres and compacts existing together? To confuse the hell out of you. No, one of them, the premiere, actually has a lot of bells and whistles that I'm surprised they put in premiere line instead of omnibus or deluxe editions. And it's a little bit bigger, they're digest size, whereas the compacts are smaller, pocket size books. I don't think they actually have given the line a name, but I wish all companies would just agree on one name and call them all compact size. I'm excited for both the upcoming DC and Marvel Omnis to come out. Same, Kenny. We're not done announcing DC Omnis. There's still a
No.
lot more. Like I have to wait until the catalog shows it before we can release a video. Like we were debating on the Chip Zdarsky one. We are like, let's just wait until another omnibus. People kind of, there is a huge, huge one that is coming that I'm like, oh man, as soon as that gets leaked, as soon as people share it, people are gonna lose their mind. I know I'm very excited for it. Of course, I'm excited for Batgirl. Um, Totally unrelated question: has there been any movement behind a potential Scarlet Witch omnibus yet? Not yet, but you are the Scarlet Witch, so you would know. Omar, I literally cried when I saw your Cassandra Cain omnibus announcement. I think I cried on the inside as well as Crisis, because to us it's it's not only Cassie, she's my favorite Batgirl, but also our first announcement is something that we've been working on for years here behind the scenes with you fine folks voting for this, and it shows that the people at these publishing companies are listening to you all. Seriously. And that it melts my heart, and I love it. It's been a long time coming, and I know I have been super patient for years, but hopefully we get to do some more official ones.
And also, it really shows the power of fans keeping the promise they make with this data. You know, Omar and I and Tiger Eyes, BFF Nut, Pollmaster Jim, James, everybody behind the polls put in all this effort. And if people just voted to see their faves on the top, or if they voted and they didn't follow through with the intent to buy the books, then the data has no meaning. But I think over time, there has been a little bit of an effect, and I won't call it a near mint condition effect, because it's the whole online collecting community that expresses their intent on these polls. And DC saw that the Cassandra Cain DC Finest did really well. It went back to a second printing after less than a year. And so, you know, it's maybe not as big of a risk as people would have thought a couple of years ago to look at a Cassandra Cain run and go, I think that could have an omnibus. So keep practicing what you preach, keep walking the talk that you walk. If you voted for something on one of these polls, please buy it when your budget allows, because that shows Marvel and DC and anybody else we might get to do a poll for in the future that they should trust the data.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that, Peter Climo. Thank you for the nice stream. I want Premier Line to die solely because I don't like the trade dress. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Don't buy it. Don't buy it if you're not into it. Get what you like. For the both of you, okay, this is a good question. Then we can start getting started.
Ooh.
What is your most favorite omnibus for the Avengers? I know mine, but I want to let Crisis goes first.
You know, if we had Roger Stern, I probably would say Roger Stern. But since we don't have Roger Stern, I think I've got to say Hickman Volume 1. I fall off of that run pretty hard in the second half for a multitude of reasons. But I just think that first one, it doesn't feel incomplete. It ends with infinity. It's a huge, huge story. The art is incredible. It's every possible adventure. There's so much intrigue. They're about to reprint it. I really think you can't go wrong with that. Although I'm a big fan of the Jed MacKay run too. So top 3, Hickman, Jed MacKay, and non-existent Roger Stern. Omar?
Oh, we're doing top 3.
No, because I kept talking, it kept accumulating. I probably could get to 5 if you let me keep going.
No. We'll save it for another stream. Kurt Busiek,
right?
The right answer. Kurt Busiek, Volume 1 is amazing. It's a mix of classic and modern. And let's see here. Oh, Volume 6. Volume 6, Jim Shooter, George Perez, John Byrne, Jim Starlin. Forget it. That type of talent in one book. I think even Chris Claremont writes an issue or 2. That's it. And The Crossing, just because I need to keep it real, and I'm going to keep it real. Avengers: The Crossing. And somebody was asking about Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 2. I believe Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2, it's not 100% a restock that's coming in October. I think it's just allocating the orders that they missed out on the first time. But if there's a chance that you might get it, it would be in October. And, you know, congratulations again on that. Oh, thank you so much. How many points did you lose with this batch of Marvel Omnis? Yeah, where are you at on that?
So I put out a Marvel Omnibus Fantasy Draft and a DC Omnibus Fantasy Draft. You can find the videos on my channel, but it's actually just a spreadsheet that you can fill out and do your own fantasy draft at home, just like a football fantasy league or a baseball fantasy league. So once all the DC Omnibus announcements are out, I'm going to do a video updating everybody on how I was doing in points. And that way, if you've been tracking your points too, you can find out. So I don't know, Omar, how much longer do we have to wait until the whole DC catalog is out? Is it this Friday, next Friday? When do we give the whole thing?
I think by next week we should. I mean, we still, I told you we recorded a total of 34 little videos. I think we've only unleashed
crazy. That's crazy.
And that's just Omnis. I think we've only unleashed a 6 of that. So they got us like this weekend. They have to start pumping them out. And I'm honestly surprised. One of them I was asking if we could do an announcement of, and they were looking at it, and I don't know. We'll see. If there's a Cap Compact, I hope they skip Brubaker's run. I'm tired. Oh, dude, the leather jacket years is where it's at. Okay, everybody. So what we're doing today is doing a recap of everything I have announced on the channel when I'm wearing a suit. And this is from the months of January to June of 2027. Some of the things have actually slipped into the January schedule, and some things may slip around. But this is the latest that we have. So, oh, look at that. I think Ultimate Volume 2, Spider-Man that is in stock at IST. So there you go. Alex, how are you, my friend? Let's go ahead and start the screen sharing here. Here we go. And at the stage. Ta-da! Is that big enough, everybody? Yes. Yes, it is.
Many thanks to the amazing Dom of X for putting together all of the slides, cover, information, everything. It's amazing to work with people who are so attentive to detail, and Dom is always that one.
And super passionate about this stuff as well. Okay, so January 2027, Omnibus, new releases and reprints. It seems like people were worried about Ghost Rider getting canceled. It has not been canceled. Volume 3 just slipped into the January slot. And what Crisis did with this slide, so here's all the content, and here's a little bit of the info. Originally announced for October 2026, but sliding into January 2027. And then Crisis also added where it landed in the most wanted omnibus poll. And Volume 4 was 75. Huh.
So this one would have been on the 2025 poll because we originally got it announced for 2026. And then the next volume is announced for, or not announced, and it was rated number 75 for the 2026 poll, voting on 2027. I think the reason is once people start seeing things that are on an annual schedule, they get a little bit less hot to vote on it. So for this book, we had Ghost Rider Volume 1, Danny Ketch, in 2024, in September of 2024. We had Volume 2 in October of 2025. So this only slipped a couple of months, but it was previously releasing right around the Halloween frame, and now it's pushed back to top of year frame. So I think everybody was kind of just assuming we would get Volume 4 in that Halloween frame at the end of 2027. Now, this, I've gone on the record, Omar, repeatedly to say this omnibus line is being mapped by somebody inside at Marvel who is obsessed with Ghost Rider. It has everything that I would put in it and then some. They are some of the best reads from the 90s that you could possibly pick up if you like 90s comic books. I mean, this is not, I'm not saying it's Walt Simonson's Thor. I'm saying it's a very fun 1990s comic book. And this, of course, has some crossover stuff with all the other Midnight Suns books. This is just, I think this is almost as much fun as you could have with a 90s comic from Marvel. And if you love Ghost Rider, I really hope you've been picking up the Danny Ketch line.
And one other reason that we do this stream is not just to catch up with people and people getting to find out what books are coming out, but also to see if there's something that you all want added to a book. And I usually keep notes of that. And today, James, my buddy James Abel, is keeping notes on, and my rule has always been, if it's more than one or two people, then absolutely I can ask. If it's just one person asking for like maybe one of the most obscure appearances of Ghost Rider somewhere, probably not going to happen. Sometimes they say yes to additions, and sometimes they say no thank you. Sometimes they're just quiet. So Marvel's first compact book was Brand New Day, remember? That was their very first one. So big shout out to my buddy James Abel. He's got his work cut out for him today.
Now, just to, we've seen this, so we're not spoiling, but just on Ghost Rider, this series goes, I always forget if it's 93 or 94, and then there's a one-shot that's called Finale, and you might be looking at this and going, it's only at 50, and we got 3. That's because initially there's tons of crossovers. There's a second title of Ghost Rider Blaze, Spirits of Vengeance, which I believe wraps up in here. So after this, it's a much straighter sprint, but there's still 45 plus issues. I don't by the time you kind of factor in like one shots and annuals and stuff, I don't know if it quite fits into one or if they would need to. It kind of depends on how they map the end run of it. But just if you're looking at this and you're thinking it took 3 to get through 50, that's because there was an intensity of Ghost Rider material at the beginning part of the 90s.
I love this run, and I'm
I
so
love
happy. Like, I cannot wait for the next volume, which is so dumb. It's so ridiculous. It will have the multicolored Ghost Rider. It's a lot of artwork by Pop Man, but oh, I can't wait for that volume. Which Marvel has let me know that they are the things people wanted added to this one are going to be in volume 4. So we know there's a volume 4 coming. I
Okay.
just don't know when. Hey Dana, how are you, buddy? All right, Runaways. One of the my most wanted. I love this run. I love Runaways, and I love Rainbow Rowell. This is collecting straight up Runaways 1 through 38, Runaways 1 through 5. James, can you please add the what if? I think there was a what if story people wanted added to this. Do you know off the top of your head, Crisis?
I do not. I don't think we had it.
Aha! Here we go. Look at that. On our Discord, what if Runaways #1? It was a 2026 one shot.
Oh, now I recall that because it came out.
Yeah.
It was like so late breaking. Yeah.
It was Rainbow Rowell. I'll see. Please write that down. I'll be more than happy to send that over to Marvel to see what they say. But oh my gosh, I love this run. This also has a lot of Chris Anka artwork for the majority of the issues.
And Andre Genoulet, who's also fantastic and very, if you don't already know him, very much in the same vein as Chris Anka. Absolutely fantastic colors, too. I think by D. Cuniff. Just a really tremendous team all around. I think I bullied Omnidog into buying this in trades because I was like, I'm not letting you wait for an omnibus. And then sure enough,
this is how it happens. He hasn't read it yet. Yeah. He hasn't read it yet. This is how it happens. In all seriousness, I'm a big fan of this run. I know you are, too. And this would be, when I announced that, I mentioned that this technically would be Runaways Volume 3. Volume 2, if they ever decide to do it, would be the run that was done by Joss Whedon, and then it was done by Terry Moore, and then it was done by Catherine Eminem.
Yes.
Even those 3 people that are really good at writing characters never really seem like Runaways. But I think Rainbow Rowell really captured that voice that I loved about the first run. So,
and a lot of people ask, do I need to have read the Brian K. Vaughan? It had been so long. I think literally over 12 years since I'd read the BKV before I read this. Rainbow Rowell is really a master. She's a novelist of taking you into the interiority of the characters and also their voices without you needing to know an exhaustive history of the characters. Same thing for her She-Hulk. This is very pick-upable. Yeah. If you watch the Runaway TV series and you just never got a chance to read the Brian Vaughan, or you bounced off of it, but you like the idea of Runaways, this is, I compare it slightly to the end run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Sophie Campbell, where it's very much people living together, trying to get along and be a found family, but also there's some superhero stuff in it too. So it's just really a run that I love. One of my top books every year that was published.
Let's see here. Hello, Omar and Crisis. Nothing to do with the Omnis, but do you have any idea when you will be doing Masterworks announcements? Interview with Corey, etc. Thank you. I have to be careful how I answer this because people have already gotten yelled at for announcing way more than what they were supposed to. So all I can say is I will have that detailed information. Should be by next week, and hopefully make a video that, and then of course have that video approved. And I know it's somebody posted, a couple of people posted, and it's been shared, but they were supposed to keep a few surprises. There's it's in great hands. The whole project is in great hands, and I can't wait to talk about in detail what the series will be, and the different covers are going to be available too. So yeah, very excited for that, and just the amount of work that is going into each and every one of those books. I'm not saying
that was great. I saw the sniper dot wink off of your head about halfway through, so I think you handled it really well.
See, I got to be careful because people already got yelled at, and I'm like, I ain't the one. Predator kills the Marvel Universe. I didn't say no names, Curtis. Look, Predator kills the Marvel Universe. collecting Predator versus Wolverine, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and kills the Marvel Universe. Somebody just said to me the other day that Marvel announced another Predator versus
They
book.
did. It's a
And they were
I
like,
didn't
could
want to
they
be the
have
one,
waited?
but
Could they have waited?
are you showing the slide? I still see Runaways.
Yeah, I'm showing the slide. Are you behind?
What is going on? I don't know. Maybe.
How are you behind?
I don't know.
Is it
Uh,
New Zealand speed?
yeah, I mean, New Zealand, all sorts of crazy things happen when you live in New Zealand. But yeah, the Predator book, we just put it on the poll for the first time this year, and we were like, oh, cool, yay! It seems like once they like build up to a Kills of the Marvel Universe series, there's a Predator Wolverine, a Predator Captain America. I think like once you build up, it's like, okay, we're there, we've got it, we made it to the whole Marvel Universe, and then they announced another one. It's like, why wouldn't you hold the omnibus? But who knows?
This is my buddy Greg from IDW. He brings up a really good point. Something that I've noticed that DC is doing recently, probably in the last 2 years, and probably other people have noticed too, is they're putting a lot into the back matter. I don't know if people have gotten their hands. I recorded my video for Hellblazer by Paul Jenkins this weekend. The amount of back matter, not just variant covers, not just sketches, but Paul Jenkins walking through each issue and what it meant to him and where the ideas came from, that kind of back matter, I would love to see Marvel start doing more of. They used to do it back in the day, and it seems like it's kind of slowed down in, like, precedence has been variant covers, which are really nice, but I love the behind the scenes. I love the behind the scenes. So I hope they do that with this. Predator slide is up. We can see it crushing Crisis.
Yes. All right. I was
Can you not see
living
it?
in the past, like Jethro Tull. No, I'm here now. Yeah. So yeah, people. I mean, these are. I don't know. They're all kind of like loosely, kind of, sort of. But they related,
No,
but
they're
they all are
connected.
their own story.
Yeah, they're connected though. Definitely Black Panther and Spider-Man leading into the,
Yeah.
like, Wolverine kind of reads by itself because it's different timeline or different times, but legit, like, the Black Panther story kind of leads into Spider-Man. Spider-Man definitely leads into the other one.
Yeah. I really like the Spider-Man one a lot. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's what I love about DVDs and Blu-rays, and I get like the collector's edition because I love the behind the scenes. I know people hate it. Not people, I'm sorry. Some people hated the back matter that came with Miracle Man Omnibus, which was half the book. I love that. I was like, yes, this is exactly why we have big books. Okay. We ready to move on to the next one? Let me see if you can see it.
Sure.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay,
Let's talk about it.
Okay, this is a book that I announced for December of 2026, and it has moved on to January of 2027. According to the Dark Horse Star Wars readers, this is the series that was left to be announced that got people super excited. This and the other one we'll talk about here in a second. But it is the Clone Wars. And collecting all those issues from the original Dark Horse era. And this was ranked at what number?
It was ranked number 25 in 2025, so because it was announced for 2026, so it wasn't on the 2026 poll. And then the still forthcoming volume 2 on the 2026 poll was ranked number 76.
Yeah, I know people really love this era, and there have been epic collections of this, but yeah, sometimes I think the back matter is almost better than the book myself. I love that you mentioned From Hell. So happy for the people that have been wanting this for a long time. This one actually goes back a few years. I remember it was originally on the slate for 20, I think it was 2022, and then they decided to hold off. So there we go.
Now, I will say Marvel has kept up a pretty solid pace of these Star Wars Legends books for several years running now. Usually there's at least a minimum of 3 or 4 on the schedule. But once we talk about the other one, that's in the lineup here. Oh no, I guess this is the only Legends one. There's really not a ton left to announce. We're really getting close to full omnibus coverage for Legends. And after we talk about the next one in this lineup, I'll talk about how many are left in total. But clearly we still need a Clone Wars Volume 2 to complete this one in specific. One of the few that is left. So I'll talk more a little bit later in the announcements about that.
Marvel Team Up. This is the very first of the Spidey titles for 2027. Collecting all the way to issue number 64, annual number 1, the giant-sized Spider-Man 4 and 5, which were not collected in the Amazing Spider-Man Omnis. Marvel 2 and 117, Marvel Premiere 31, the Marvel Comics calendar 75, 76, and 77, and then material from Marvel Treasure Edition 13. The Marvel Tales, those are just covers that they're collecting there. And very excited for this one. For a series that did not even have a first volume, like 4 years ago, people were worried that this was never going to come. And now we're up to issue number 64. It went up to 150 issues, so we still got a while to go.
Now that first Marvel...
Yes, this is
Warren!
Not Bendis.
Of course, I will save... For Marvel Team Up, the first one Omar just alluded to came out in December of 2025. This was the longest lagging behind book of all of the Spider-Man books to hit omnibus because Amazing Spider-Man was already into the 80s. Spectacular Spider-Man, I think at that point, was in the late 70s. So everybody was wondering if Team Up was ever going to get an omnibus. And then even with that Volume 1 out in 2025, this still, even with this Volume 2, means it is the furthest back Spider-Man material that we've got. This only goes through 1977. All of the other Spider books are quite ahead of it at this point. And if you want to see a comprehensive accounting of how that works, you can tune in to just 1 week ago and see our How to Collect Spider-Man in Omnibus stream, where we go over how it all puzzled together and how all the books line up with each other.
This volume gets into the good stuff. Claremont on Marvel Team Up is the best he's ever been.
Ooh.
Wait, have you read his Uncanny X-Men run, Jade? I don't know about the best he's ever been. He's just good at everything he does. Except those issues of Huntsman in Wildcats. Omar, my show.
How dare you? How dare you
bring
me onto your show to malign Wildcats?
Actually like the Huntsman issues in Wildcats. Awful. Please don't get those single issues out. Omar, my shelves would like to express how grateful they are that you keep them filled. You tell your shelves I said hello. I said what I said. Okay, James doubling down on that. I read that as
you tell your shelves you're looking good today, baby.
Is this the title Arcade made his first appearance? I believe he did, yeah. Yeah, I hate that character. I don't know how Crisis probably loves that character though. Do you?
He has his uses. Not my fave, but you know, there's that great video game in the 90s, great, and that it was impossible to beat, so it was high value for the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the next issue, it was 65, so it'll be in the next volume.
Yeah,
who is Huntsman?
Not quite
there. He's not that cool, even though he has a sword. Martin Claremont sitting in the tree. Okay, Wildcats isn't bad. But if I had to pick a... Okay, no, his Doom Patrol was pretty awful, too, in that JLA book. Anyway, I'm not here to judge Claremont. I love the man.
The thing I always say to people about Marvel Team Up is this is not a book you need every sequential volume, all the other Spider-Man books. You really could just buy this one. There's a very light ongoing story, but they're really just team ups. Like if you love mid Bronze Age Marvel, if you look at that Doctor Strange cover and are like, hell yeah, I want to read that Spider-Man story. This is a volume 2 you can pick up alone as a volume 2. You don't need a volume 1. You don't need the matching Amazing Spider-Man volume. That is not how Marvel Team Up works. And this was number 50 in the poll last year, up from 145 in 2025. So this was in the top 60. It's one of the top 60 books that is being published.
And I believe Gil Kane on the left and definitely Dave Cockrum on the right. Will there be 4 of these? Well, it goes all the way to 150. One could safely assume that, yes, there will be 4 of them.
Could be 5.
Why would you bring that into the universe? They could easily we're at 64 right now.
Well, it has to do with the Masterworks mapping, and they're being very adherent. I actually thought this one would be a little bit longer because it would let them put more Claremont issues into it, and it would it would skip them ahead a little bit in the Masterworks, but they stayed very adherent to the Masterworks. So since we don't have Masterworks past either 90 or 100, we just don't know yet.
I think 4. Final answer.
I would like it to be 4. I'm not saying I want it to be longer.
Okay, what the hell's happening? Nobody likes arcade more than Storm. Nobody. No. I refuse to believe that. Moving on to February. Let's see here. I know this is an Omni stream, but I'd love to see a team up in epic format. I think once they start closing some lines up, they will definitely do it. Oh, wait. Warren has redeemed himself. He wants a Silver Sable Omni. Okay. Me too, Warren. Me too, buddy. You're okay now. What about all the Marvel team up after the original series? Well, there was a series in the 90s. But, I mean, that was so different, and some of it is part of, like, the Clone Saga.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they didn't do that for Fanfare. We were like, hey, what about those other 5 issues of Fanfare? And they said, stop.
Oh, they did. Yeah, the 99-cent Fanfare. This is where you're going to get the new printing of X of Swords, and it's got the exact same material. And we did not put it in the reprint poll because Marvel had already told me they were going to reprint it. And then people were like, when are you going to announce it? When are you going to announce it? And here it finally is. It's coming out in February. I know it's after Reign Volume 1, but this takes place immediately right after Dawn of X Volume 2. I know it's not X of Swords. People always correct me, but just in case people haven't read it, the X stands for 10. Unlike Assault on Weapon X. Because it will always be Weapon X. I don't care what Grant Morrison's trying to do. Nobody mess around with that story. And
so just to be incredibly clear, this has no overlap with any other Krakoa omnibuses. If you're buying the Age of Krakoa anthology line, this is like the most popular thing to talk about on Omnibus Reddit. If you are buying the Age of Krakoa omnibus line, this fits in exactly between Dawn of X Volume 2 and Reign of X Volume 1. It's basically Dawn of X Volume 3. But since it's a straight reprint of the original oversized hardcover, they're not like adding any kind of titling or subtitling. Similarly, if you didn't go the anthology route and you have the Hickman omnibus on your shelf and you've read the X-Men by Hickman omnibus and you're like, wow, it seems like a lot of stuff happened in those 3 issues we skipped. This is that lot of stuff. So no matter which version of the omnibus line of Krakoa you're collecting, if you really want the whole story of the whole of Krakoa or just the whole story of Big Daddy Hickman's part of Krakoa, you do kind of need this book.
Big Daddy Hickman. I can't afford Omnis. I am so sorry. This isn't an omnibus, though. Somebody was asking if they will put an omnibus on the spine. I don't think they will. Because they had the opportunity to do it with House and Powers of X, and they did not. So they probably won't do that with this either.
Which kind of surprises me, because in the past when they have, it's like to join the reprint club, usually oversized hardcovers need to become an omnibus, like somebody blossoming into adulthood. But no, they just reprinted the House of X Powers of X and kept an oversized hardcover.
I believe this will probably have sewn binding and won't be printed at the Sheridan printer in Versailles, or Versailles if you live here in Kentucky. And that one had glued binding, so I don't think it will. Here's the question for both of us, and I'm curious what you think, because I know my answer is X of Swords essential reading. I know my answer is absolutely if you are reading the Krakoa era and you have Dawn of X Volume 1 and Volume 2 and you're gonna go and read Reign of X. Absolutely. That is a different answer than if you were to ask, is it good? But I will stick with that answer. What do you think, Crisis? Is it essential reading?
Well, to me, it's essential reading for a slightly different reason, which is that a lot of the late part of Krakoa is only engaging with the themes of Krakoa itself. But in this early part of Krakoa, we got a lot of teases of existing X-Men lore that was going to get deepened. Apocalypse's lore around the genesis of Krakoa, and lore around Otherworld, which you'll know well if you've read Alan Moore's Captain Britain, as well as Alan Davis and Chris Claremont on Captain Britain. And X of Swords, to me, is really what pays all of that off. If you skip this, you kind of don't get any rewards about learning all of the depth of Apocalypse's history, the history of Krakoa, the history of Otherworld, world. So I just think it's a huge lore payoff. I sometimes can be resistant to like, don't change the stuff that I love. I like this stuff how it was in the 90s. No, I think everything that got added by this to all of that lore was absolutely brilliant. And to me, this is what pushed me over the edge to start picking up the Krakoa Omnibus line. So I'm like, well, if I could have X of Swords oversized, I at least want the beginning of Krakoa and Omnibus.
So there's your answer.
Pretty essential for two very different but equally valid reasons.
Oh, look, you have a fan. I'm just here for Crisis. You know, he used to keep Uncanny Omar posters in his locker. I heard he switched them out to Crisis posters now. I don't appreciate that, Ryan. Bro, my dumb self-picked Reign of X as my first X-Men read. Oh. Yeah. Wow. That's the last half of his run. Is there any chance of a Book of Doom gallery edition now that Doom is coming? I don't know if they're doing any more gallery editions right now. They're kind of taking a break from them and focusing more on the epics and the omnis and then this new compact line. So maybe one day they'll bring them back. They're not officially canceled, but one day. Speaking of X-Men, Reign of X Volume 2. Taking us to the end of the Jonathan Hickman era.
Not quite.
Well, there's still Inferno, and we don't know how they're going to do Inferno.
Yeah.
That's yet to be answered, and that will be revealed with whatever they call Volume 3 or Trial of X or whatever they end up calling that era.
So here's what you need to know about this to characterize Omar's statement. I'm not just disagreeing to be difficult, although I am difficult. The thing I'm saying it is because Hickman wraps up his run of X-Men 2019 here, which was the flagship title of this line. And it wraps up as part of the Hellfire Gala. And it wraps up in the Hellfire Gala ultimately with Planet Size X-Men #1, which really wraps up a ton of the themes of the first year and a half of Krakoa, almost 2 years, we'll call it. And that's written by Jerry Duggan. And so this book ends with that first Hellfire Gala, which crossed into every issue of Krakoa. It wasn't really a direct crossover. It was more like every issue was happening at the Hellfire Gala and you could read them in order, but each one of them were handling all the themes of their own characters. So for a lot of people, this may be a jumping off point, like because you're like, okay, well, Hickman is done. I already have the OHC of his Inferno event series from the end of 2021. So it's over. And you know what? That is a totally valid choice. If you're looking for an off ramp, this plus the Inferno OHC, terrific off ramp. But there, as Omar mentioned, there is actually a lot more of the line that happens between here and Inferno. There's the trial of Magneto. There's Jerry Duggan's first arc on X-Men 2021. So there's a lot more to read in Krakoa, even before we kind of get to the act break that happens at the end of 2021.
Can I sell my X-Men by Hickman Omni when I have both Dawn of X and Reign of X Omnis? Sure.
Yes.
It is up to you. Everything is included in those omnis that was in that one omnibus. So, I mean, unless you want to keep it for completist sake, but really there is no reason to. Everything is included in books.
Yeah, these even do better because they include the Empire miniseries, which that didn't have. Then you'll also, if you've bought X of Swords, we'll have the X of Swords stuff, which that didn't have. So you'll have totally encompassed the Hickman book if you decide to switch to the anthology line, which is an individual choice.
And kind of disappointed we didn't get any gap fillers for X-Men this round. Would have loved the follow-up to Trial of Gambit. I think
Agreed.
Just from doing this for years now, it seems like X-Men is always, at least from everything I've announced, heavy towards the end of the year. It's kind of light towards the beginning of the year, which I know to some people that hate X-Men are like, what do you mean light, dude? There's like 3 X-Men Omnis coming. They usually keep the bigger releases for towards the end of the year. So I'm hoping for a gap filler too. Do I suggest any of that stuff? No, it is horrible, horrible X-Men. That era of X-Men is bad that we're about to hit, but I still want it. I still want it, baby.
Now, I will point out for the last 3 years, the X-Men stuff the dial has been turned up a little bit. We've had between 20 and 30% of all omnibuses have been X-Men related. That includes things like Wolverine, anything that's kind of mutant. Before that, Marvel tended to stick a little bit closer to 15 or 16% of the slate being X-Men stuff. So I think we'll see this year if it's going to keep up the like, oh my gosh, a quarter of all omnibuses, or if we're going to dip down a little bit closer to like only half that much of X-Men omnibuses, and time will tell.
Can you just start with the anthology line with no prior reading or no? Get the House and Powers of X and you're ready to go. I have a lot of like my family got into X-Men because of that era, because of this era. That book right there.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
This is the DM cover, but this is the book that you will want.
And then get the anthologies. Oh, sweet baby Jeebus. I was trapped in Ad Hades trying to get to the stream. It isn't Omar's fault, but I'm blaming him anyway. Wow, is that Melanie's other account? Okay. Secret Wars Battle World Omnibus Volume 4. I remember announcing the first one, and I thought, oh, there's going to be at least 2, maybe 3 of these. And then somebody wrote, no, Omar, there's going to be 4. And I'm like, they don't have enough book. Oh, my God, they have enough material for 4. And here we are, 4. Wrapping up this particular mini-series. It's not even an event. It's just mini-series. Some of them were fun. Some of them were awful and forgotten for reasons, and some of them actually matter. So, yeah, this collects in alphabetical order. I can't think of any other series that's been collected in alphabetical order, because really, it's not like one series is affecting the other. They're all coexisting on this magical little island that Emperor God Doom created. That is a killer cover, though, by Mike McCone. Did you read all of this, Crisis?
Oh no, it was horrible. But for moi, because I don't really like whole line does alternate universe if it's not cohesive. So for those of you who recall Age of Apocalypse back in 95, 96 had a very distinct reading order, and the omnibus reflects that. They all had to do with one another. They were all happening on the same Earth in the same reality. This Secret Wars, because the Secret Wars battle world is stitched together from so many different constituent Earths, all of these stories are happening in battle world or in the space around battle world, but they're not really meaningfully interacting with each other because a lot of them are just happening in their own little fiefdom of battle world. So if you like Elseworlds, this is like one of the few times that Marvel has said, we're putting the entire line on pause, and every single title is going to do in Elseworlds. Pretty much the whole line was canceled. Some stuff relaunched earlier than others, but there were at least 3 months there where every normal Marvel book was gone, and they were all doing Elseworlds. So that's what this is. It doesn't really have a lot to do with the plot of Secret Wars. It has to do with what if Battle World existed, and what if we followed all of the heroes in their individual realities on Battle World.
Secret World Wars is better than Battle World.
Well, Secret Wars it's like...
What do you mean some of them mattered?
No, none of them mattered.
Ryan would say.
Only
absolutely.
Siege.
Yeah, the Thor's book absolutely mattered.
No, it didn't. Do not listen to him.
I'm sorry. Old Man Logan didn't matter? That's where Old Man Logan climbs the wall. I don't like the book, but I mean, facts are
It does not matter at all. If you read Secret Wars...
If Old Man Logan... Oh, God damn it. Don't make me curse. Ah! Look, if Old Man Logan miniseries had not existed, where he climbs the wall and gets over and comes into the 616 universe, then we wouldn't have the ongoing series by Jeff Lemire.
But if you just start reading from issue 1 of the ongoing series by Jeff Lemire, it's like, clearly some multiversal shit happened, and now he's in our universe. Like, nothing that you would read in that miniseries changes your read of the Well,
I mean, for that matter, you don't need to read Old Man Logan either.
Now we're cooking.
I don't like the story, but I mean, I would want to read it all.
But anyway, I think in terms of, I mean, look, how much does any comic matter? Like, it only matters if you like it. I'm just saying, if you are like a Secret Wars obsessee, there are very few of these Battle World stories that have a direct bearing on Secret Wars. Siege does. The Zombies book does, but like very few of the plots of these individual series tie back in a meaningful way to the main Big Daddy Hickman's Secret Wars.
Oh, so Hickman approved series are what matters. Got it.
Well, yes.
I don't agree with that. All right, I'm going to move on.
Yes, please count me.
The Incredible Hulk Omnibus Volume 4. Collecting issues 171 to 209, Incredible Hulk Annual 5, and then material from Marvel Treasury Edition number 13. You've got 2 covers right here. Woo! You got the Rich Buckler cover and the Herb Trimpe cover.
Now, I will say a few things about this one. First of all, it was not in the top 60 of the poll, but it was 102. So it wasn't especially low. That's still in the top 6th of the poll. And it went down a little bit from the year prior. The reason I think it went down a little bit the year prior is we were all expecting it for 2027. And when people expect a book, they don't tend to use a vote on it. That's because the past two books were exactly this interval apart. So Hulk Volume 2 was out in November 2023. Hulk Volume 3 was out in November 2025. So I think we were all expecting this to be a November release. It would have kept up the exact cadence. So it's actually not surprising to see it in 2027 at all, but it's surprising to see it in February of 2027 because all of the other Hulk books came out later in the year.
Now there's an old man statement. All comics after 1999 can go to hell.
Scream at that cloud.
Man, there's only, I know my buddy Sassmurph. I'm still not sure which Hulk Volume 4 cover I'll choose. Well, if it helps, and I don't know if it helps, but the one on the left, the standard edition cover, does not have Wolverine on it.
That's how you can tell them apart.
Yeah, right? Obviously. There's one choice, and one of them doesn't have floating heads. Just has the window.
Oh, I do hate a floating head cover.
I know you do, which is why I said it. Would this be a good first Hulk on me? You've never read the Hulk before? What have we at? 209? No, not really. There are better stories out there that have been collected in omnibus format. If you like the classic stuff, then yeah, this would be a pretty good book. But if you like more modern stuff, there I think better runs than this. The next run, Volume 5, I think would be better than this.
Yeah, it heats up after this one. It's kind of like, I'm like, great, let's get it out. I mean, it's got some good issues in it. The Wolverine issue is good. There's a couple other good issues. But like, to me, and not just to me, I think certain titles, people kind of have a good sense of when they really started gaining traction. I think everybody knows that about Silver Age Daredevil, that it's like doesn't really start getting exciting until after like 88. I think for Hulk, like everybody knows it's really not until the Bill Mantlo's run starts where it really turns into fire. I mean, would you say any different, Omar?
Bill Mantlo, I think, is when it starts getting good. Like it starts becoming the Hulk book that later on Peter David would just put Hulk on the map for people. And I know,
and
I'm just gonna state that I know that Hulk people already love the Hulk. Like I would never say that to Sebastian Bach, because Sebastian Bach loved the Hulk from the very beginning before Bill Mantlo even came on board. But I think for people that have never read the character, I think Mantlo's run is the one that's where stories start happening, and wow, they're different than what came before.
Yeah, I don't think this is not bad, and I think if you really enjoy omnibuses from this era, like nothing about this is going to be a turnoff to you as a Bronze Age omnibus. I just think that it requires you to have an affection for Bronze Age and an affection for Hulk in specific. Well, there are absolutely other Bronze Age omnibuses where you'll hear Omar and I'll be like, no, this is like the best of Marvel. You don't have to love the Bronze Age. You don't have to love Hulk. You will just find this appealing. For this one, absolutely. I think you need some pre-existing affection. That's all. But it has a lot of historic issues in it.
Oh, yeah. First appearance. Wolverine. Yeah. And Wendigo. Win-win. All right. March. Best month of the year. The one book people were just blowing up my streams about, and now it's something else. Now it's Punisher Volume 2. Oh, good Lord. Daredevil by Charles Soule. Coming back to print. This will be the second printing. So I always like to remind people whenever they do a new printing, it's always a smaller print run. So please, if you can, I understand if you cannot, pre-order the book if you really want it, especially the cover. But this is collecting Daredevil 1 through 28, $5.95 to $6.12. Annual number 1, Daredevil Punisher 7th Circle 1 through 4, and material from all new, all different .1. The one thing that is missing from this book that was also missing from the previous run, and I tried even back then, is the Daredevil Man Without Fear miniseries, which is a story that takes place between this run and the Chip Zdarsky run. It's only been available in trade paperback. Actually, I tried with the Chip Zdarsky run, and they still said no. I'm hoping one day they would give us like a oversized hardcover of it, but yeah. So, where's Omar's birthday? Hey, Tina! What year is this from? After 1999, Foxtastic.
This run by Charles Soule is from 2016 to 2019, at which point there's that Man Without Fear miniseries that Omar mentioned. That's by Jed MacKay, although he was kind of pre-fame Jed MacKay at that point. And then it rolls over to Chip Zdarsky in 2019. Another thing that some people, we can't say that it's missing because it came out so far after this. But there was also Daredevil Cold Day in Hell, which was also by Charles Soule. And it's kind of like an old man Daredevil that is a far flung into the future sequel of this. And it's by Charles Soule and I want to say Steve McNiven on some extraordinary art. And Marvel did not put that in oversized hardcover. So that would be a wonderful addition to this on the shelf if Marvel ever puts it out in oversized hardcover. I love this run of Daredevil. I think it's intensely readable. Charles Soule is a real life lawyer, so it brings a certain amount of veracity to all of Matt Murdock's adventures in court. I think the art is really strong. It starts out with art by Ron Garney. Later in the run, it has run by Phil Noto, one of my favorites. And it plays with some really fun aspects of Daredevil continuity and past characters, including his brother and including Kingpin. I just think it's a really rewarding, really fun Daredevil run. And you don't have to have read Wade. You don't have to have read anything. If you have any kind of grounding in Daredevil, you can pick this up and read it all in one story. There's no tie-ins. There's no events. It's one satisfying omnibus.
But, I mean, Cold Day in Hell doesn't matter to people like Crisis. So,
I mean, I read the number one just to read the number one and give it a chance. And it was so extraordinary that even though it was alternate future, which is like the bane of my existence, I did read the whole thing because it was just so good.
The bane of your existence is the alternate future. I live for alternate realities, man.
I mean, that and the lack of good ice cream in New Zealand. But yeah, those are both the bane of my existence. Ooh. Come at me, Kiwis. Come at me. It's not good.
Oh my God. Have I read Loisel's Peter Pan? It is a masterpiece. I love that book. Actually, before it was available in America, I imported it because it was already in English. I can't remember who published it, but it's the same. He was a artist on a lot of Disney movies. Like he did Mulan, and the art and that story. Oh man, it's wonderful. Let's see here. Old man Daredevil, unimportant. Daredevil by Soule, down for pre-order as soon as I can. And somebody was asking here if there's any way to add the Cold Day in Hell. Not for a straight-up reprint, unfortunately. Yeah, not for a straight-up reprint. Any X-Men fan hating alternate future? An X-Men fan hating alternate futures? Alternate realities. Days of Future Past was good enough for Crisis. You don't need any more than 2 issues of 1980s goodness, John Byrne and Chris Claremont, Days of Future Past. How did you feel about Days of Future Present?
I don't like any of them. We could get rid of Days of Future Past too.
Oh my God! I'm going to mute you.
Notably on the record on this channel by saying all you have to do to be an X-Men fan is to hate half of all X-Men comic books.
Oh, that is so true. I hate that that's true. Avengers by Jason Aaron, Omnibus Volume 1, collecting the first 45 issues, the Free Comic Book Day, and 2019 Free Comic Book Day, Avengers Savage Avengers number 1. Coming in at 159 in the Tiger Eyes poll, down from 108. The next volume would have to contain the Heroes Reborn, and then the entirety of the Avengers Forever story. So, yeah. I mean, that's it. Volume 2 would be some heavy double dipping, I assume, with those 2 other Omnis, but yeah. There's a lot of retcons that happen in this run when it comes to a particular godlike being that I think should be left alone.
Leave her alone. Get a job. Anyway, can I share my unified theory of Avengers that I came up with when you announced this?
Sure.
I think Avengers goes through 3 phases. There's a classic phase where it's like a super recognizable team doing recognizable stuff. And then there's like a new or reinvention phase where it's like kind of like Bendis. It's like a lot of characters we've never seen in Avengers before, although it happened before Bendis. And then there's what I would call is a decadent phase where every Avenger, everybody who's ever been an Avenger is an Avenger. The whole team is every Marvel hero ever. And what's interesting is some runs go through those phases, but they tend to cycle constantly. And this run starts out like it's going to be a classic phase, because if you look at who's in the initial part of the run, it's all super classic Avengers. It's like the movie lineup plus She-Hulk, who was an Avenger for a long time under several previous authors. By the end of Aaron's run, it is full on decadent phase, high camp. Everybody who's ever been an Avenger in any reality is an Avenger. And I would say that this first book, by the time you get to issue 44 and the last issue is 45, it has gotten a little campy. So this is not a totally kind of like played straight Avengers run like a Hickman or like a Busiek. It starts out very classic with them, Celestials, and then over the course of it, it gets more and more decadent and more slightly goofy. Not as goofy as Aaron on Wolverine and the X-Men. I think there's a place for it. I enjoy a lot of it, but some of it is very campy for an Avengers book. This is not Jonathan Hickman's Avengers.
Wow, I think you covered every part of this era of Avengers.
But do you agree
really
that like
well.
Avengers, does that make any sense that it's like classic, new, or over the top, and those are the three modes?
I feel like it went through phases of a relationship.
Ooh.
through yeah, you're absolutely right. The way it starts, the middle, and then the ending, and you're like, oh wow, that's a lot of characters. Yeah, I like your description of this. Right now, you're in the classic and getting ready to go into the who are these people era of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. What are they doing in my house?
Yeah, if this is a relationship, I think the middle of this book as we go to the back end is like, oh, an open relationship. Who is that in my bed right now? That's really where this line guts by the end of it.
They know we were going to make that connection. There's a place for it. It's called the garbage. Oh, Ryan, quit it. You've got a Jason Aaron poster in your freaking locker, too. Okay, that is volume 1. Not the only Avengers Omnibus.
No.
But first, we need to talk about Star Wars. The original Marvel years just announced this reprint today. This is a new printing, collecting the first 44 issues and annual number 1. And really cool that they decided to do this. I didn't realize Star Wars was going to be 50 years old next year. Whew. When did that happen? Like, seriously, 50 years of Star Wars? And of course, I'm not that far behind. Okay, here's the thing.
Were you? I'm sorry. Was I supposed to say something nice there? I just
yeah. You were like, no, look
nice.
at day over 48. You jerk. Look, here's the thing.
The marches keep coming, Omar.
I know they don't stop. Dude. They do not stop. If you have not read this, and I mention the talent that goes behind this, and you have loved the Dark Horse era, I will say, tread carefully, because this is not the Dark Horse era of Star Wars. It is the Marvel era, the classic era. To me, I think Dark Horse is where it's at, and then the modern Marvel, and then the comic strips, and somewhere down here is the original Marvel comics, because they, at first, you're like, wow, what are they doing? Because they had to work with Lucas art, like to not have any kind of big things happen in the story, right? You couldn't kill off Darth Vader. It's just, don't expect that type of talent to deliver like the type of good stuff that the Dark Horse era gave us later on. It's just okay. I don't know if you've read it.
Said, well, I haven't read a ton of this, but I will say, to offer a slight contrast to that, it's before everybody realized that Star Wars comics needed to matter. I mean, this started coming out in 1977. They were making it just as they would make any other film or movie tie-in. Planet of the Apes, in ROM, Micronauts. Like, they didn't know it was going to be Star Wars. So there's a certain charm to some of that interstitial material that even though Lucas was dictating, like, don't kill Darth Vader, it's like, what kind of wacky hijinks could Luke and the gang get into next? It's very that. It's not being made with like the intent that this is the most lucrative franchise in the world, at least not until a little bit later in the run.
Okay. I like that.
And I think that this is a good point that Conrad
they
Judd
do
makes,
get
which is,
better.
yeah, that it starts to get better because people start realizing, oh hell, this is Star Wars is Star Wars.
Yeah. So, but glad that, people that have been missing this and needing it, it's coming back to print in March. Ooh, this is a great question. You and I can answer. What's the best Star Wars comics out there to read? I love the original trilogy and kind of like 3 and 7, but never read any good comics or any comics of it. Ooh. I've got thoughts. What about you, Crisis?
Oh, I mean, the Dark Horse stuff is just extraordinary. You really can't go wrong. Like, pick whatever era in between films you're into the most, whether it's New Republic or whether it's the Empire or Clone Wars, and just like, even if you can't grab an Epic Collection or an Omnibus, it's all on Marvel Unlimited now. I think every issue, right? Because they finished the Epic line, so everything is on, except for maybe one. Curtis would know, and he's here somewhere. But yeah, I think just like maybe pick the period between 3 and 4, which I think is the Empire. If I have to look at my Star Wars guide and be sure, and just start reading what's mapped into the Epic collections.
I would say if you can't get a hold of that era, Star Wars Darth Vader by Kieran Gillen, some of the best Star Wars. And it's got a modern, like, little it's got a little bit of a modern twist to it. It is excellent. Plus, it introduces to one of the greatest characters that has not made it to screen yet, and that's Dr. Aphra. I'm not the biggest fan of the Skywalker, like, keep everything Skywalker. So I love the old Republic. Old Republic, like, Volume 1 is phenomenal. Legacy, where it takes place years in the future, and there are some Skywalkers and stuff, phenomenal. But yeah, those are available in Omnis right now. The Gillen book is out in Modern Epic Collection. Unfortunately, the Omnibus, which had 2 printings, are both out of print right now. Thank you so much, J. Michael White. Start with Modern Marvel Star Wars and Star Wars Vader #1. Yeah, Vader is phenomenal. For me, I love, oh my gosh, my favorite is the Dark Empire, though. Dark Empire trilogy is a masterpiece. So good.
There's a lot of good Star Wars from 2015 forward, which is what we're calling that modern Marvel era. I guess for me, the allure of these Dark Horse books, which is not this, the Dark Horse is called Legends, which we'll get back to with another announcement, is it's complete. Like, as of 2015, that was the story of the Star Wars universe. And so I have a real weak spot for, like, I can just read the complete, total canonical story. It's not still expanding. It's not still growing. It's a bookshelf. It's the same reason I like the idea of the Krakoa omnibuses. So for me, there's a lot of allure in reading that old continuity of Legends rather than the modern Marvel continuity, which is still ongoing and interacting with the universe as we speak.
Yeah. So enjoy your trip. If you've never read any Star Wars comics, there are so many great books out there. And also, mileage may vary. Like, just because we're recommending some, you may not end up liking, and you may end up liking things I'm not a fan of, which is the beauty of comics. What the? Where did this
exactly
come from? What the? Dude, my brother was like, I own 2 Omnis. Guess what? I'm going to own 3 Omnis come March of 2027.
Your brother's discerning taste is endlessly fascinating to me because he loves so much of the stuff I love, and then he loves some, like, off the wall.
Okay, wait. He's got Runaways, and he's got the Oz by Scotty Young.
Yeah.
Yes. And now he's like, dude, what the? Are you kidding? I used to make fun of him. So I would get What If comics from time to time if they were X-Men related. And he was like, what is this? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. It was, and then he would pick them up. So this is collecting What the 1 through 26. And that's it. And I know there are people like my brother that are really excited for this series. So excited for What the, yeah. But, to each their own. I love Avengers: The Crossing. My brother liked What the. Crisis doesn't like Days of Future Past and Future Present. You know, everybody is wrong from time to time. And hard pass from Edwin. What the is what the? That is a great question. So this is pretty much what you're seeing here on the covers is exactly what you're gonna get out of the book. It's just jokey versions of the characters, a take on. I think. Oh my gosh, what are they don't even stick with the same names too. Like the Plunderer sometimes becomes a different. It's the Punisher. It's the take on the Punisher. He becomes a different character. I'll be wrong with this one. No, you too, Bill. But anyway, it's coming out. It's the silliness we need. Surprised they're not adding like not Brand Ek in here.
Yes, agreed. I think, you know, there's only so many times you can go to the well with a parody book because it's just not, we all know it's not going to sell the way, you know, some X-Men book is going to sell. And so I just thought with Not Brand Act only being 14 issues long and being honestly very sought after in a different way than this. This is a more modern book. It's from the 1980s. You know, Not Brand Act is the classic Silver Age parody stuff. And so I kind of just thought that they would take the opportunity to kind of do a Marvel parody omnibus and maybe put in some stuff from Spoof as well. Personally, for moi, if I was the marketer at Marvel, I would say like this might be our shot. Let's get all this into one omnibus and really make it worthwhile for people. Because now I just don't know that they'll ever have a reason to put Not Brand Act into an omnibus all in one run. So I mean, I think there's a lot of fun. So these are anthology issues. They have 2 to 4 stories each. The issues are all silly parodies of current Marvel heroes. Sometimes big Marvel creators drop by, like John Byrne comes and does a few, but it's a lot of times just like cartoonists from the bullpen. And the stories are very silly takes on exactly the characters that were possible. Very silly takes on Wolverine being silly, Punisher being silly, Thor being silly. They are non-canonical. They're joke strips. They read like a strip that you would have in Mad Magazine, but about the Marvel heroes of the late 80s.
It's not Brand Ek, but in the 90s. Curtis is excited for this book, and this is his other omnibus. He owns Muppets, Muppet Babies, and What the, because he fears that it will not be released in epic format. Deadpool by Joe Kelly coming back to print. Collecting the first 33 issues of the ongoing series, the -1 issue, issue 0, annual 97, which is the Deadpool. Oh no, that's just the Deadpool issue. And then Deadpool Death, annual 98. Baby's first Deadpool, Amazing Spider-Man 47 and 611, and the material from Deadpool 900. So this is volume 1 of the ongoing series. There is an Omnibus volume 0 that came out, but that material has been mainly collected in the Deadpool and X-Force Omnibus and X-Force #1. And the volume 2 of this is called Deadpool Classics Omnibus. So it's back. He's back. Maybe people will be hyped up. It's been a while since we've had a Deadpool. Well, we did get a reprint of Cable and Deadpool Omnibus, but not this.
Yeah, I do want to talk numbers for a second. So there used to be a time that we got oversized Deadpool all the darn time, and that time was the 2010s. That ended with the Deadpool minibus in March of 2019. We have not had a new Deadpool in the title omnibus since then. We had a reprint of Deadpool and Cable in 2023. We had a reprint of Deadpool and X-Force in 2025. And this perhaps is our 2027 Deadpool reprint. So maybe we're getting a Deadpool reprint every 2 years. That seems to be the schedule they're setting. But we have not had any original Deadpool. Now, to be fair, Deadpool is completely collected from the beginning of time to the end of 2015, but there is more Deadpool we could collect. We could crack into Jerry Duggan's 2015 run on Deadpool that's often called World's Greatest, I want to say. Then there's, of course, the Scotty Young and Kelly Thompson that comes after that. There's the just concluded Ziegler run. We could have more minibuses because there are a ton of miniseries, but it is nice to see our Merc with the mouth back in hardcover again. And this Joe Kelly run is really what defined the goofiness of Deadpool, you know, for generations to come, for better or for worse.
Yeah. This stuff is, you know, lots of people love it. This is some of people's favorite Deadpool run.
But are we really going to go? We might go 10 years without a new Deadpool omnibus, and you know,
crazy.
Yeah, that is.
It's almost like we need a new Deadpool movie.
Maybe they could throw another really popular character into the movie, like D-Man. No? Total neutral face from Omar to my joke. Giving nothing.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that, man. All right. What is this? What is this, Crisis?
Doom. It's One World Under Doom. This was the Marvel line-wide event in 2025. The years coming and they don't stop coming. It was written by Ryan North. It doesn't really spin out of his Fantastic Four, although it spun into his Fantastic Four, and it spawned a number of miniseries across the Marvel line. Not so much tie-ins to ongoing series. If you look through this list, only really Fantastic Four and Iron Man in terms of ongoing series that already existed tied into this, but it did spawn a Red Hulk series, and it spawned a Superior Avengers series, and it spawned one of many ongoing miniseries of Thunderbolts led by Winter Soldier. This main event was really, an outgrowth of Blood Hunt. I won't spoil it, but something changes for Doctor Doom at the end of Blood Hunt that then leads directly into this. So in a way, for Doom, it's a sequel to Blood Hunt, although it doesn't have anything to do with vampires, only has things to do with Doom. None of the tie-ins really have a lot to do with the main series. They're just what happens in this One World Under Doom, while Doom is the one who's ruling the world. And some of them are really good. The Doom Division was one of my favorite Marvel series of that year. The Doom Academy was a charming return to the Strange Academy kids. And a lot of these other miniseries were really, really strong. And art on that main series by R.B. Silva.
What is the new Doom series that's going on right now?
The one where he's...
No.
Doom Quest.
Doom Quest. So Melanie pitched it to me, and I said, stop talking, because that sounds brilliant.
Max really likes it.
Me as Quantum Leap meets Doctor Doom, and I asked who's the writer, and she's like Ryan North, and I'm like, that's all you need to say. So people were surprised with this one, considering we don't have a Ryan North omnibus of Fantastic Four, but maybe Marvel is just waiting for Ryan North to be done with his run, and then they can make an omnibus out of it. Here's hoping. I love the fact that this.
Yeah, they always do. Oh, sorry.
No.
They always do event books like the year after that's just a thing. 18 months after the event, the event book is going to be here. Yeah.
Whether Doom or One World Under Doom is going to be collected in that book or not, I assume it will be. But then again, Blood Hunt doesn't really belong in the Avengers. Blood Hunt is more of a I would rather put Blood Hunt in Doctor Strange than Avengers. Absolutely. Come on.
It's a whole arc of Avengers. Every Avenger is in it.
But
Doctor Strange is
now
in
that matters, but old man Logan doesn't. Get out of here. No. Put that in Doctor Strange. Anyway, what the hell was I saying? Red Hulk. All of Red Hulk is collected in here. 1 through 10.
Which then sets up the next big event, which is the current event happening in Marvel Universe, the Armageddon event, which is very Red Hulk-centric and Doctor Doom-centric in a way, and it's written by Chip Zdarsky. So Marvel, it's been a while since we've had this where every Marvel event kind of immediately rolls into the next event. We really haven't had that since the 2007, 8, 9, 10 events. That's kind of the track that we're in. Blood Hunt, which kind of spins out of Jed McKay's Avengers, then definitely spins into One World Under Doom. One World Under Doom creates the case that will lead to Armageddon. So they're going to make a really fun bookshelf at some point. And I'm telling you, 5 or 6 years from now, people are going to be like, why won't they reprint them? I didn't get them. I want a whole collection of the Marvel events of the 2020s. It's coming. It's coming.
Okay. Comic version of Heir to the Empire trilogy. So I'm sorry. I missed a couple super chats about Star Wars. Yes, that Heir to the Empire is brilliant. And my buddy John, sorry about missing the super chat. Is there a group more overplayed than the Jedi and the Sith? The Oasis.
I was going to say the Beach Boys.
I hate that group. I hate Oasis. But if you like Oasis, more power to you. Happy to see Omar Crisis stream right after work. Don't forget to write Felicity. Thank you. I promised I would email her, and I still have her card upstairs. One of these days I'll get it to you. It's a Doctor Strange arc. Thank you so much. I agree with Omar, but there are people that agree with Crisis, and that's okay. Doom haters probably had decent parents. Dorks. All right.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Why? No,
No,
why would you play that song? The only way that song makes any sense is when Princess Donut sings it in Dungeon Crawler Carl. And oh my god, it's brilliant. Otherwise, that song go to hell. All right, April. Oh my gosh, how exciting
yes.
was this? I purposely made this my last announcement because people have been asking for years for Punisher and Greg Rucka's Punisher, and now it's. I think you said it best on the Patreon. You said Punisher's back on the menu. Oh my god, this and Punisher Epic Collection Volume 1. Woo! Yes, absolutely. Cannot wait. I think this is the first time I ever saw Marco Cacchetto's artwork.
Yes.
So I am super excited about this. I love the stories in here, and it's definitely a Frank story that can be standalone. It's a great...
Oh, I was going to exactly agree with you. This is the Punisher book for everybody. This is the Punisher mainstream book for people who like Punisher Max. This is the Punisher book for people who just saw Punisher in some movie that he may have been in. This is a Punisher book for people who've loved Punisher from the 90s and have never read modern Punisher. Literally, I cannot imagine this disappointing anybody unless they want to really just see a totally amoral blazing everybody down with Punisher, because Greg Rucka is not going to write that. And to be clear, this could have been called Punisher by Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka writes every single Punisher issue in here, but per his own Discord, he was quite surprised that Marvel made the announcement, which might explain why it is not called Punisher by Greg Rucka.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was not either, considering his name is such a big seller.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, there's no non-Rucka material in here.
I'll take it. I will take it. Does this collect the Staten Island where all the characters get superpowers? It does, yes. Great flick from 3 years prior. I'm police officer and I wear my... God, of course, I read Ryan's stupid comments. I think I would want Fractions run.
On War Journal, that directly preceded this.
It's a... what's his name? Great artist.
Ariel Olivetti.
Olivetti, yeah. Great artist since the 90s. I wasn't even considering this, but I am now likely getting it. Oh, it is excellent. This is
maybe Omar and I at some point should do like a top 20 Marvel series of the past 20 years or something like that. Ooh. This, I would absolutely, without question. I mean, I'd have to think about it. I'm sure I would come with a list of 100 and we'd have to whittle it down, but I think there's a strong chance that this is in the top 10.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is up there for me. It's one that I've wanted for years. Tough choice though, man. I love Marco Cacchetto, but that Adi Granov cover is awesome too. Iron Man, Michelini, Leighton, and John Romita Jr. Volume 1 back on the reprint. Coming back in April 115 and 157. We never got a Volume 2. And also, I want to say Volume 4 that I announced takes us to 112, making 113, 114. I don't want to say orphan because we know we'll get a Volume 5 one day. But I wish they had expanded it. It would have been nice.
Well, I mean, the expanded version of it wouldn't have been a reprint, right? The expanded version is Iron Man Volume 5. So it's kind of like, it's just a little puzzling.
And we know it will come. It's just it'll be a few years.
Yeah, it's just puzzling to get this reprint because the next classic Iron Man Omnibus is this book plus 3 issues. So why would you reprint this and then have to sell that? Also, the only 2 missing Iron Man Epic collections are the 2 halves of this book, one of which has been announced. So it's just deeply weird I mean, this is one of the greatest Marvel runs of all time, certainly possibly the best Iron Man run of all time. It's an extremely significant run. I'm not talking about the quality of the material, but just looking at the landscape of the Iron Man stuff that Marvel's probably going to be trying to sell in the next 3 years, it's deeply strange to get a reprint of this book.
Has James or anybody that's watching, has this been solicited already? Is it in the catalog?
No, we wouldn't have this yet if it's April. Usually Omnis solicits are like 6 months out, right? So this will be in October.
Let me take another shot. Let me see if
I
they
mean,
can make this one a volume 5 because they did that with Captain America. Remember?
I know that's why we got. So for people who don't know the deep lore, why don't you? I talk all the time. What are we talking
You
about
do.
when we
You talk
say
a
they
lot.
did that with Captain America?
I talk a lot. So when we say Captain America, there was Captain America Omnibus Volumes 1 and 2 of the Silver Age. Then Marvel, a long time ago, did a Jack Kirby Captain America Omnibus when the King came back to Marvel. So they reprinted that book and made it expanded with adding the letter pages. And then they reprinted it again after volume 3 had come out and just made it volume 4 with the expanded pages. So I'm hoping maybe I can get a hold of them and I will see. I'll try another shot because I did try to get 112 and 113 or 113 and 114 added, and it wasn't that they set up a straight up no, they just didn't. But maybe I can get them. I don't know. We'll see.
I just
It would
think
be
the
cool.
attraction here is that it's very easy to market this on the names because it makes it obvious what the run is. But that's true with Jack Kirby on Cap, and they still made it volume 4 because they were going to have to sell it. It's just so strange to say they know that people want this, and it has not been reprinted in a long time. And so, like, it's not that it's a bad choice for a reprint; it's an outstanding choice for a reprint. It's just the need to sell it again, really, really soon. Um, that's what's crazy. This was last printed, I believe. I will check my database. I believe in 2013.
It's been over a decade.
Yeah.
It's been over a decade. So people are saying they're doing Roger Stern Spidey Omni the right way. And that's not to say they're going to get rid of that book, right? Like they're going to retire it. They can still come out with that book. But I think once a book goes out of print, it would be really cool to get them. The only problem is that I think Volume 4 came out in 2020. Oh, it came out this year, right? Usually classics aren't back to back. Although Spider-Man has a little different. I don't know. Regardless, I'm going to try. Oh, because what's the point of any of this if I don't try?
Well, and I think Conroy Jett asks a good question here. If it's a straight reprint, would it have the Masterwork rescans? Because the Masterworks came out after this book originally came out. Now, in the John Byrne Fantastic Four
Yeah,
omnibuses,
they have
which
used.
maintained a creator name and a creator map, even though the Fantastic Four line was quickly approaching, they updated the scans.
Yeah, so I would think that they are. Where's my Fraction Omni? Same place my Mike Carey X-Men Legacy Omni is. Limbo. One day, right? Marvel Comics presents Volume 1. Collecting the first 25 issues of the anthology series. I believe each one had 4 stories. And this is where we get to meet Madripoor for the first time. This is where Weapon X came from. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure before I announced the book is how it was going to be mapped. And the way it's going to be mapped is similar to what they did with Marvel Fanfare. Issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, to some of you, you're like, of course. That's the way all books are mapped. The big difference is this is an anthology series. There's 4 stories that continue from issue 1 to 2. So that's what I mean by difference. Some people are like, oh, they should put in my story arc. And then some people are like, no, that's cool that they're doing it like the way it was originally released. So it really is up to you. A lot of stories have already been collected in the Wolverine Omni, the X-Men Omni, the Black Panther Omni, but then there are some that who knows where they'll be collected. You have a Marshall Rogers cover with Terry Austin on inks and Walter Simonson from issue number 1.
And just to take people a little bit more deeply into that, these issues, they were always 4 stories each. The stories were always 8 pages each, and each issue had a table of contents with recaps on it. Even if it was a one-of-one story, they weren't all serialized, it would at least explain who the character was and the setting of the story because you were coming to it cold. So generally, each issue was anchored by one big character. For the first 100 issues, there was almost always Wolverine, and usually there was a second pretty big character, either another mutant, sometimes Black Panther had a 25-issue serial through this, and then the other 2 stories sometimes could be quite small. well. Sometimes it was still a featured Marvel character like Silver Surfer, who had many single stories in here. They're in his omnibus line. But sometimes there are these deeply, deeply small random characters that are probably never going to be collected into an omnibus otherwise. Nth Man, Ursa Major, Comet Man, Captain Ultra. So that is part of the attraction of getting this, not only the nostalgia of it being presented in holistic issue by issue format, but also like that those stories are probably never, they're not Avengers, they're not mutants, they're probably not going to get collected anywhere. But the downside of this is not only that they're collecting it issue by issue. So like to look at issue number 25, it has a Havoc story that's number 2 of 8. You're going to have to wait until Omnibus number 2 gets here. A Black Panther story that's number 13 of 25. So you'll have to wait for the next one. But then it has 2 one-shot stories, for Nth Man and Ursa Major. And so that's the same at each of these issue 25 multiple breakpoints. You're always going to get a story broken in half. In fact, when we get to issue 75, if we get to volume 3, it's going to break the Weapon X saga in half. So actually less than half. It's only going to have part 3 in it. So that's, I think, the what you have to accept with this line is that you're going to need all of it if you want complete stories, because many of the stories are going to cut off in between volumes. I don't have so much of a beef with that now that I've come to accept it. I just think they could be a little bit longer. I think 25 issues is a little bit short here. It's only 850 to 900 pages. I think they probably could have gone a little bigger and knocked this out potentially in 5 or 6 volumes instead of 7 volumes. So I've been waiting to talk about it for months. Sorry to monologue, but now you know all the same things I know about Marvel Comics Presents. 175 issues.
I'm glad that you're bringing up these points because, you know, these are similar points that people in the comments have left. And unlike Marvel Fanfare, a lot of the stories, I don't want to use the word dragged, went on long, like Crisis just said, 25 chapters of that masterpiece, by the way, of Don McGregor's Black Panther,
which I love.
Love that story.
Love.
But it is broken down, so it'll be part of it will be in volume 1 and part of it will be in volume 2.
The best way to think about it is that some stories are truly just an 8-page story, like an 8-page backup inventory story, and that other stories are as long as a 10-issue series. Because if it ran for 25 issues and they're 8 pages each, that's a 10-issue miniseries. And a lot of the stories fall right into the middle where they're like a 3 or 4 issue miniseries. A 4-issue miniseries at this point would have been 80 pages-ish. And so if something got 10 installments, that was basically a miniseries that instead of getting marketed as a miniseries was in Marvel Comics Presents. So the cool value of buying this whole omnibus, you're going to get tons of Wolverine miniseries, although they're in the Wolverine omnibuses, tons of Ghost Rider miniseries, though they're in the Ghost Rider omnibus, but then a lot of cool like one-shots and one-offs that aren't necessarily going to be found elsewhere.
Plus, I'm hoping lots of letter pages and lots of extras in the back. So...
Well, and I'm really hoping it's going to have, since it's going to go issue by issue, if it has those table of contents pages, they were cool. And they sometimes had original art on them. So like that to me is the allure of keeping the issues all together. If they split them up, it would be like, well, what are you going to run the table of contents 4 times for each issue? Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same. Let's move on to Star Wars Legends Legacy. I just talked about Legacy Volume 1. This is Volume 2 wrapping up the series. And if you're thinking, whoa, what's going on? It's missing an issue. 37 to 40, 42 to 50.
No, it's not.
Issue 41 was collected in Volume 1. It's kind of a standalone story. Collecting also the Legacy War 1 through 6 and Star Wars Legacy from 2013 1 through 18, and then material from Star Wars Tales 19 and Visionaries. Some of the best Star Wars comics I've read. I love this stuff. Love the letter page. Same, J. Michael White. Like legit, I love letter pages. That is the social media of its time. You can see what people were thinking. Of course, it was selected by editors, but you could still see what people were happy with and what they were not happy with. And it's funny how time has not changed any of what people are not happy with. So yeah, this is excellent. I love this stuff, and I'm glad they're wrapping it up immediately after Volume 1. And Volume 2, I'm looking forward to reading it. I will say the Legacy from 2013 is not as good as the 2006 Legacy. But, oh, yeah, it's some great stuff.
I'll say one thing about the... Oh, go ahead.
I was just one more note. If you're watching this now and you're like, hey, this should be added to this book, please let us know in the comments if you're watching later and in the chat. James is keeping track of what people want added. Am I wrong, or wasn't there supposed to be a Gwenpool Omni reprint in January?
Yeah, shouldn't
Yes.
that be in here?
Yeah, I'm not sure why Dom didn't add it. Maybe
I think
because
because
I
we
didn't.
already knew it before these announcements. I think is
Yeah.
probably why. Yeah.
So only Star Wars
Ah.
Omni I bought on release.
Ooh, interesting.
All right, getting closer to All Legends Omni Volume 1 of the original years is only Star Wars I didn't own. When All Legend Omnis came out, I'm starting to create readathon. Whoa! All right, Crisis.
So
Show
let's
me
talk
the.
about that. All right. So one note on the content, then we're going to get into the publishing stuff. I'm
Okay.
on the record just a few minutes ago of saying I don't like alternate futures. Here's the thing. This whole deep into the future of Star Wars, you could say it's an alternate future, and they kind of put that patina on it to be like, oh, well, this is not official. But like, it's not like they were writing other Star Wars stories that were 100 years into the future at this time. So if you choose to, you can treat this like the canonical future of Star Wars. It's not like when Marvel 2099 came out, where it was like, okay, but they're still telling stories that are not necessarily lined up with 2099. Like this really could be. So I do think that it's like a fun epilogue to read if you're going to read all of the Star Wars to read Legacy last. That's just my thought on it. After this comes out in April, there are only 2, or depending or how you count, 3 Legends Star Wars omnibuses left. There's The Menace Revealed Volume 2. There's Clone Wars Volume 2, which we just saw Volume 1 in these announcements. And then technically there's still this other material, the Clone Wars Adventures. It never made
Oh
it to
yeah,
Epic Collection. So
cartoon
we
stuff.
don't know if it's publishable, if they're ever going to recollect it, if it would get an omnibus. Both the Menace and the Clone Wars stuff have been in Epic, so we know exactly what they're going to contain down to the issue. So I don't think we're going to get Clone Wars 2 in the same year as Clone Wars 1. I suspect we're going to see Menace Revealed in the back half of the year, and then we'll probably see Clone Wars 2 in the top of 2028. That's my guess.
Okay. Yeah, that was one that they never made into Epic Collections, and that's the one that's based on the cartoon, right? Not the CG show, but the cartoon. Andy, how are you, buddy? There are clean breaks after Marvel Comics presents 100, 122, 136, 142, 146, 148, 49, 151, and 171. You know, some of those are just like the Weapon X issue, right? It's just straight up Weapon X too.
No. There's always multiple stories. But to Andy's point, in the back half of these omnibuses, they have good breakpoints. Like they will be able to easily break at 100 without anything kind of being left out. Then maybe they make some bigger ones for the last couple, and they could break at 136 to have a clean break, and then the last one could have 137 through 175. So some cleaner opportunities in the back half than in the first half.
I think at that point they made it into a flip book too.
Flip book.
Right?
And I sure do hope we have to flip that omnibus over, baby. Bring it.
That's stupid.
If we're doing original issues, we're doing original issues. I want to get to the middle of the issue and have the whole thing change direction.
You do you. That's just a dumb idea.
Now it's a dumb idea.
We can't agree on everything. Let's see here. Pretty sure Dark Horse does the all ages Star Wars collections.
Well, good point. They
could
probably do Star Wars. So Dark Horse.
Oh, it is connected as the furthest novels establish the status quo where the X Imperials have the SLC slice of galaxy for them with the Baron Fell Empire.
Oh, so like it does continue from concepts which have been established, is I think a point.
All right. Avengers by Jen McKay. Collecting issues 1 through 36, timeless number 1, Avengers Annual 1, Avengers Mech Strike 1 through 5. James, before anybody speaks, especially Crisis, would you please make a note to ask if they could add Blood Hunt to this? I got you. There's also another timeless issue that I think belongs in here too, right? From 2024, 2023? Does anybody know right off the top of your head, please?
Oh, it should have it has timeless 1. Where's the other one?
No, that's technically timeless too. 2021 is
right.
The first.
Yeah, it should have both of them. They're both by Jed McKay.
Yeah, I'll ask.
That's weird. That is a weird thing to leave out.
Kane, how are you, buddy? How is this run? I thought it had a slow start, but it got so good. I ended up loving this run. I wasn't digging it at first, and I was worried that McKay couldn't handle a team book. I was wrong. The first arc was a little slow, but then after that, it just took off.
And you know what I really remember about it is reading the first arc and telling Omar how wrong he was.
I
Uh,
remember that. I'm like, oh, what
I
happened there?
actually, it was real. I'm not just making
Yeah,
fun. I think this is Avengers as JLA. It's Avengers as Authority. It's Avengers. Remember my
yeah,
Avengers rubric from earlier? This whole run is classic Avengers. It's all, towards the last couple of issues, they bring in a lot of other people, but it's really just, this is a lineup that's very recognizable to classic fans, to movie fans. At one point, Storm joins, but that's really the only lineup shake up pretty much for the whole run. The art is absolutely stunning. It starts with CF Villa. Later, it includes breakout art star of 2025 for me, Fareed Karami, who just delivers absolutely mind-blowing art in the back half of this run. I think, and you don't have to read anything else. McKay introduces the idea that this run is going to be based on with the timeless one-shot of Kang, and then this run totally pays it off for 36 issues, and it gets out. Personally, I would add Blood Hunt because this team leaves their title for 3 issues to go do Blood Hunt and then come back and you're like, where did the team go? There was a whole different team for those 3 issues. But you don't have to read Blood Hunt to understand this. Blood Hunt was just one of the, I forget what they called them. There are not extinction events, not incursion events. They had a name for these big things that were going to keep happening that Kang predicted that they had to beat back, tribulation events. And Blood Hunt was one of the tribulation events, which is why I feel like it should be in this run. Yeah, I if you can't tell, I deeply, deeply enjoyed this run.
yeah. I can tell. I love what they did with the covers here too. This is nice. Also, really tough to decide which cover to get because I do love me some Storm, and I love when she's part of the Avengers. And I really like that Black Panther outfit, so I may do direct market. But direct market doesn't have Thor. Decisions. Yeah, I ended up really liking this run. I thought it was great, and I I agree with mostly everything you said because you liked it from the beginning.
I just think sometimes the Avengers get together and the thing they get together to do, I'm like, is this really a reason to launch an Avengers book? But I just felt like from the first arc, I was like, yeah, this feels big. They've got to avenge the Earth. They're the only people that can deal with Kang. Like it just feels like it's not Avengers doesn't always go Justice League big. Justice League is a totally different kind of team than Avengers. And I think to kind of start out with the idea of like this is Justice League Avengers, it just really clicked for me in like a really deep way.
Uh, that's awesome. I hope Chip Zdarsky lives up to the Jed McKay expectations.
Let's hope.
And Spider Man Big Time. This is another nice surprise. One of the other Spider titles. We moved on from Brand New Day, and now we're starting Big Time. They're mapping these. I'm assuming you agree with me here, but there should be 2 of these, and that leads into Superior Spider Man. I can't imagine them doing Big Time Volume 3 and just reprinting Superior Spider Man as Volume 3.
No, well, it wasn't Big Time.
Be kind of ridiculous, but yeah. This is when Dan Slott took over the book and became the only writer on there. This is also when Humberto Ramos came on board and became the ongoing artist, along with other people. But one of the very unique things about this, I don't think, Curtis, are you still watching? I don't think will be part of the epics, is the inclusion of every single Spider Island story. That's pretty big. And it's already a big book. So this one's going to be big.
Yeah, I mean, they nailed this mapping. I know some people wanted Spider Island as a standalone omnibus. That omnibus would have collected 2 previous oversized hardcovers, one that's an Amazing Spider-Man part of the story and one that was all the tie-ins. They're both in here, along with the Amazing Spider-Man issues that lead up to it. I just think to take a 15-year-old, somewhat small event like Spider Island that wasn't really line-wide, it was just Spider-Man, and to collect it in the same way they've been collecting the modern Spider-Man stuff like Gang War or whatever, it would have just double-dipped the eventual Big Time book so hard. I think this is the best case scenario. It has everything everybody could want. Yes, it means that we're going to need to push into another volume, but that was always going to be the case. There's tons of Spider-Man to get through before we get to issue 700. I really don't detect anything that I would have added to this map. The big question will come in the next book's map. You'll note that Dan Slott's name is not in the title here, which means if there are side series not by Dan Slott, they may be fair game. That doesn't really matter in this one, except for that it means we got all the Spider Island stuff. In the next one, it means we could maybe get all of Avenging Spider-Man, which was Spider-Man's team-up title in this period, all the way up until it starts getting collected by the Superior Spider-Man Returns Omnibus, and that is my hope. So yeah, there is a strong chance that Big Time 1 and 2 are a perfectly comprehensive collection of all of this 2-year period of Spider-Man. And there was a lot because it was shipping with great frequency.
Yeah, excited for this one. I really like this era. I don't know if this is such a hot take there, James. Dan Slott was the last time Amazing Spider-Man was good.
I'm loving the Joe Kelly run, but I am 6 months behind, so it could have gotten crappy.
In those 6 months you took off.
Yeah. And I'll say that this is it just keeps rolling. Like it's one of those great runs where it's like, even though there are distinct arcs, it just kind of feels like you can just keep binging and binging and binging. And then you wake up 2 days later, your hair is a mess. You haven't eaten. You're in the same sweatpants and you're like, have I been reading Spider-Man this whole time? It's just like one of those kinds of runs.
I know we mapped these live, but do you remember how many more post Superior there would be between that and the Nick Spencer run? Would you say, did we say 2 more?
I believe there would have to be a minimum of 3 because if they take this all-inclusive approach to Marvel Now, it's going to have all of that Marvel Now series, and it won't just have the Slott stuff. It'll have like the Conway stuff. There's 0.1 issues. It could have Family Business by Mark Waid. And then the Dan Slott run after Secret Wars, which is sometimes called Worldwide, was substantial. It is lengthy. So that's going to need 2 omnibuses just to get through it. And so I think it's 3, possibly even 4. Yeah.
The crossovers to like the Clone Conspiracy. And
right.
then I'm curious how they'll do the Spider-Verse and then Spider-Geddon issues.
Yeah,
like
who knows
what they will do with that.
If this is any indication, they might include all of it yet again. And for Spider-Verse, it would be worth it because people will buy it.
Those are Omnis, though. I would.
Yeah, but they could slice that Omni in half. So the Spider-Geddon stuff happens much later. So they could put the Spider-Verse stuff in the Marvel Now Omnibus and the Geddon stuff in the Anad Omnibus.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is they can go either way. They can skip those issues and give you a recap until you go and buy the Spider-Verse Spider-Geddon Omnibus, or they can include some of it with a recap of everything else that happened. I'm curious how those will be mapped.
But bottom line, this is a terrific sign. There's nothing more you could ask for in this map. If you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, get this. By the way, this directly follows the 3 Brand New Day books. If you have Brand New Day 1, 2, 3, this is the next story that happens 1 second later, well, a couple of days later, than Brand New Day 3.
And we are going to move on to X-Men Inferno.
Burn,
man, this is so crazy, dude, because this was an OHC that I remember. I think that was the very first one that I asked Marvel if we put it on the reprint poll, could you reprint it as an omnibus? And not only did they say yes, but we'll put the companion with it. And that was amazing. Like that happened. That it might have been Fall of the Mutants was our first that we did. Regardless, there was a time when these were just oversized hardcovers. They did not have Omnis, and here we are. Now it's coming back to print, which is just kind of crazy to think about. Inferno, that's right. Hashtag the real Inferno. Hashtag not Jonathan Hickman or Daddy Hickman or wherever the hell Crisis calls Hickman's Inferno. So this does contain, of course, the important issues with Uncanny X-Men and X-Factor and New Mutants.
And Exterminators. Don't forget WizKid.
I was going to say it also includes the Exterminators and every bit of comics that Inferno got its hands on. And you have the cover on the left-hand side by Mark Silvestri, which is the Hot Inferno cover. On the right-hand side is the ad. I always was a huge fan of those ads. You have Walter Simonson on top. I believe that is Brett Blevins in the middle. Crisis? Blevins?
Not sure, but it does look like Eminem was the one drawing New Mutants.
And then Silvestri at the bottom with Sinister. Sinister. If you say it fast
I
enough, Sinister. Love those
yeah.
ads, man. Love those ads.
Well, here's the thing that people often forget about this book. This was, I think, I'm just scanning through my brain here. No, not quite. This was one of the first line-wide Marvel events, and it was not the first, but it was one of the first ones that really touched every book like this that was not um it was based in X-Men, but it touched every book. So Secret Wars 2, a couple of years prior to this, had kind of touched every book in the line, but Secret Wars 2 is truly line-wide in that it was Secret Wars 2 was a standalone event series, and there were 1, 2, 3 issues of tie-in across just about every Marvel book. Inferno has no standalone main series. It was happening in X-Men and X-Force and off to the side in New Mutants, but still just about every Marvel comic book. I mean, not everything. I guess there's no Hulk tie-in, but I mean, a lot of Marvel tie-ins, pretty much all of the Avengers and Spider-Man line contribute. And so that was kind of like it was unique. And it was not something that had happened a lot of times at the point that this happened. And you don't need to read all of the Marvel Universe stuff. If you just read X-Men and X-Factor, it makes sense. And if you just read New Mutants and Exterminators, it makes sense. And if you read all 4 of those, it makes a lot of sense. But the stuff in the Marvel Universe kind of just adds flavor. You get to see what is happening elsewhere in New York with these characters that are experiencing this demonic invasion. But it's not like a modern event where like one of them does something heroic and that affects how they defeat Sinister in the end. It's like it's just showing what happens with Spider-Man. It's showing how the Avengers deal with it. It's just showing the effects of it throughout New York.
And people are saying that Secret Wars 2 was trash. Secret Wars 2 was peak fiction. Do you remember how they defeated the Beyonder? You know who actually loves Secret Wars 2? Like, I thought he was effing with me. Al freaking Ewing. We were at a bar in New York, and he's sitting around, and it was just me that was listening to it because everybody else kind of went on, and he was just going on this whole spiel. And I'm like, oh my God, I think he's talking about Secret Wars 2. And I was like, yeah, that story's ridiculous, right? And he was like, no. Have you ever heard him talk, Crisis?
Like, does he have a low? I know he's British, but does he have a low
like
voice?
Like an Ent, like from Lord of the Rings. It's like, no. Awesome. Like, he was like, I'm serious. See, Brian, you can go to hell. People ain't heard, Christ ain't ever heard that story. Get Al Ewing on Secret Wars 2 right now. Oh, yes. Omar seems to be enjoying the Secret Wars 2 hate. Oh, I'm not a fan. Secret Wars 2 is ridiculous. Although it did have some of the creepier issues of New Mutants, I will say that.
Yeah, it gets dark.
Like, legit. We weren't smoking crack. He smokes pipes, lung pipes. Okay. Moving into June. Oh my God, that cover. Those covers. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 8. Collecting Amazing Spider-Man 224 to 251. Annual 16 and 17. Spectacular Spider-Man 85. Marvel Guide to Collecting Comics 82. My buddy Dana getting credit in her first Marvel Omnibus. I'm so proud of you, Dana. I don't know if you're still watching or not. And the official Marvel tryout book. So pretty much this double dips with the Roger Stern Omnibus, although it has a couple of new things. And we knew that was going to happen, though. Like, we knew from Uncanny X-Men Volume 5 that there was going to be some double dipping coming. And this is, yeah. I'm glad that they did not reprint the Roger Stern Omnibus like 2 months ago before I announced this. I'm glad they're doing the right thing. Awkward. And putting this out instead. Does that lower box have a typo? Let's see.
Maybe.
Up from 67. Oh, did you mean 167?
Let me check.
Or down from 167. Or volume down from 67. 8. What is up? What is that?
The one is a typo. It was 34 in 2026.
Yeah. Which is just crazy that it was 34. Woo!
Now, here's, I always love to look at the context of these releases. Like, how did we get here? Is this truly surprising or not? It used to be that we had to wait between 3 and 5 years for a new volume in the Spider-Man line. That was the case for a long time. Then we've been on a little bit of a streak. So we got, hold on, let me knock out the reprints from my database here so I can just talk about first prints. So we got volume 1 in, oh boy, 2007. We got volume 2 in 2012, so that's 5 years. We got 3 in 2017, that's 5 years. We got 4 in 2019, that's 2 years. Then we got 5 in 2021, keeping up the 2 years. Then we got 6 in 2025. Somehow that expanded to 4 years. So we're like, okay, it really felt like it was 2 to 5 years at this point, and that was the rule, right? That was what had been established. Then we got volume 7 in 2026. Making it only a year. And now we're getting volume 8 in 2027. So that's 3 years in a row of this classic Masterworks line. That really, X-Men's usually the only one that moves that fast. They are in a race. And part of that race, as Omar said, was that this material is the same material as the Amazing Spider-Man material in the Roger Stern Omnibus, aside from one issue. And the only extra stuff is really that Marvel Guide to Collecting Comics and the official Marvel tryout book. There's nothing else extra to add. The Stern book just had this whole period of Amazing in it. What's really interesting is now the next book in sequence is the Black Suit Saga or the Alien Costume Saga, which we have in a line-wide omnibus, but we don't have in an omnibus just oversized of Amazing Spider-Man. So if we were to get a volume 9 in 2028, that will have some first time in omnibus, first time in oversized Amazing Spider-Man material in it. Or do they do Clone Saga, or I'm not Clone, Black Suit Saga Aftermath, which also would have Amazing Spider-Man that we've never had in oversized before. So no matter what happens next, we're going to get some Spider-Man in oversized that we've never seen before.
So what I am curious if people are like me. I was just talking to a friend of mine about Transformers. Right now, Hasbro is going through the entire line of studio. They just did Studio 86, and now they're doing studio pieces, which is practically the same damn toy, except it like $10 more, and they might have a new paint job. But I'm curious. I'm going to start a poll. If people are going to replace their Roger Stern Omnibus with this. So I'm going to ask, are you replacing the Stern Omnibus with Volume 8? I'm curious if people are like, nah, man, whatever. I'll have Stern, and then I'll have Volume 7, Stern, and then Volume 9 when that comes out.
Which you could do.
Absolutely. Or if you're like, no, man, I gotta have it lined up. I gotta have all. So I put the poll up. Just go and vote. Anybody can vote, including Crisis. What about you, Crisis? If you were still getting I think you get these in Epic format, but if you were getting the Omnis, would it bother you, or are you above that? You seem you're above a lot of things.
Well, the thing about the Stern book that to me is trickier is not the Amazing Spider-Man side of it, but the Spectacular side. On the Amazing Spider-Man side, it had exactly, this number of Masterworks worth of material, so it swaps out with this perfectly. On the Spectacular side, the Stern book has less material. It's not even 20 issues of Spectacular. So the next Spectacular Omnibus will not be able to perfectly match the Stern book. It's going to have to collect past it. So from that perspective, if I was somebody buying all of Spider-Man for my shelf, at this point, I would get rid of Stern, because I would have the faith that the next Spectacular book will more than replace Stern.
Oh, no way. I ain't getting rid of Squad. I'm an idiot. I'm keeping this, and I'm keeping Stern until we get a Spectacular Volume 2.
It'll just be harder to sell at that point.
Ooh. Wait, so could Volume 8 be replaced with Stern, but not the other way around? Yes, but that's
there's
not the question I was asking.
One more issue in Stern, which is 252, but it's not one of these Marvel did us wrong. It's 252 starts the next Masterworks volume. It's just in the Stern book to put an ending on the story in that book. Since that's not the way they do things in these books, it just ends on 251. It's not a great offense to humanity that this does not have 252, but that's the only other difference. But it's not, it's going to be fine. It's going to line up just fine in the long run. And if you really need to see this visually, luckily Omar and I just spent 2.5 hours explaining this and how to collect Spider-Man in Omnibus. It was fast. And you could see this all visually and how they all line up.
If collecting isn't giving you a migraine, are you even collecting right? Just saying, J. Michael. I'm on delay. I'm not sure if I'm replacing my Stern Omni yet until we get see, right? But by the time you're ready to replace it, what if they're sold out of Amazing Volume 8? And there's the stupid dilemma that
Yeah.
comes with collecting, right? I was the same thing happened to me. I'm so pissed off. My freaking pre-order Starscream from Target got canceled, and I pre-ordered it day of. Oh,
Oh,
my kids were in the car when I snapped. All right,
I would be
we're gonna
pissed.
move in. By the way,
Wait,
both covered.
I want to say one more thing
Great
about
cover.
this. One more thing,
What do you got?
which
What
is
do you got?
that if you, let's say you're not a big Spider-Man, Silver Age or Bronze Age fan, and you just want like the Spider-Man that are kind of the modern stories, Stern is a good thing to hang on to then, because if you were like, well, I was always going to start Spider-Man with Black Suit, you can almost call Stern like prelude to Black Suit, right? It just gives you some grounding
Oh,
in
sure.
what was going on with Spider-Man directly before. And if that's the case, perfect clean break, and you could start collecting after this with whatever gets announced next or with the Black Suit book. So that's one other viewpoint to take, is that if you're not going to have Spider-Man all the way from the beginning, Stern is just a good place to start your shelf.
I never got the Stern Omni because I hate large Omnis. Well, boy, Volume 7 was for you because that is a small Omni.
Yeah, it's a
Speaking of
teeny one.
small, I know it's not Marvel, but I got the Wonder Woman Omnibus Volume 2, the George Perez. I thought I had ordered a deluxe edition.
Is it really slim with the new paper?
Oh my gosh,
I don't
yeah,
have
it
it
is
yet.
really slim. Like, we're talking iMac paper type of slim.
I mean, Volume 1's not on. This is the reprint of Volume 1. It's not that thick, so.
Yeah, I forgot to bring it down to do a comparison. Let's move on to, oh yes, another book that only had one printing. Captain America by Mark Waid, Ron Garney, and Andy Kubert Omnibus. Collecting for the, actually, I bet if they were to do this again, they probably would have separated by two Omnis. They would have had like the classic Mark Waid stuff, and then they probably would have done the Heroes Return with including Dan Jurgens' run. But collecting 444 to 454, and then there was the Heroes Reborn, and then Heroes Return 1 to 23, the Captain America Iron Man Annual 98, Sentinel of Liberty 1 through 12, and then Captain America the Legend Red, White, and Blue. So very excited for this one to come back to print. And for the first time, I believe, a direct market cover. I don't think the original printing had a direct market cover. And for the people that have the original printing, you haven't opened it yet. The original printing is notorious for having bad binding. Like, it's the one omnibus I know I can use in my videos to show you how to fix the binding. Like, because I know everybody that has it just has bad binding. Every single one of them. So
the original did not have a DM cover. So there's a note on that. And again, looking at like the reprint window for this, that Deadpool book, I think we hadn't had since 2013. This one we have, or maybe it was the Iron Man. This one we haven't had since 2017. So Marvel is definitely taking a look at the 2010s to be like, what's the highest demands? This was in the top 20 of the reprint poll, so it was pretty highly demanded by you all. And it's the book that directly follows the 4 Grunwald books. Now, here's the one interesting thing about this one. Captain America by Mark Grunwald has had a June or very top of July release date for the last 3 years running. So 2024 was Volume 1, 2025 was Volume 2, 2026 was Volume 3. We had every reason to believe that this release date, the mid-June cap release, was going to be Grunwald Volume 4. It's very strange that it's this book, because this is the book that directly follows Grunwald Volume 4. You'll notice it starts on Captain America 1968, issue 444, which is the next issue after the Grunwald books will end. So personally, I would have thought that they would have wanted to maintain the perfect schedule they've maintained for 3 years and release Grunwald 4 here. They know exactly how many to print because they've got 3 years of sales data of the previous 3, and then reprint this book. But who knows why, the methods to Marvel's madness. So they took the normal Grunwald release spot and they're reprinting the book that follows Grunwald instead of finishing the Grunwald line.
Maybe they thought July would be more of a patriotic release date for Captain America Grunwald Volume 4.
Maybe.
What say you? Somebody was asking, is this a good first Captain America Omni? 100%. I love what Mark Waid... Look, Mark Grunwald is my favorite Captain America run. But by the time his 10 years were up on Captain America, I think both him and the editors were just ready for something new. And
Yeah.
something new came in the way of Mark Waid. I believe this was his first Marvel book because he had just done he was just doing DC stuff and killing it over there. And Ron Garney, who was at the time not one of my favorite artists, but because of his run here, I became a Ron Garney fan. Especially the stuff that he did in Charles Soule's run. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's great. It's got an opening that's like, at first you're like, wait, where the hell's Captain America in this? And then by the time you get to the end, you figure out, oh, that's what's going on. And somebody was asking, is this the stuff that is after Liefeld? It's a funny omnibus because I said that nowadays they would probably split it into two. So it's the stuff before Liefeld and the stuff after Liefeld. That's what's in here.
Yeah, this basically takes a break for Heroes Reborn.
Let's see. Yes, that was the last thing. That was the last thing Mark Grunwald wrote. He was going to work on a Marvel versus DC book. I want to say, was he still on Quasar? Was Quasar still going in 1990?
I think Quasar wrapped before
Cap. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is a great omnibus. I love this run, and it is, yeah, it could be your first Captain America story. Thoughts, Crisis? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of said it all. It's an easy place to pick up, even though we both revere the Grunwald run that's 4 omnibuses worth. I mean, I'll just wind up saying all the words that came out of your mouth. This is an Omar and Crisis lockstep sort of set of opinions here.
And yeah, this is not a video brought to you by Marvel Comics. These are my own thoughts and opinion. I really love Mark Waid does not put money in my pocket. It's probably the other way around. I put a lot of money in Mark Waid's pocket because not that he's at a bar. No, anyway, it's just because I'm a huge fan of his stuff, and he knows the lore, he knows the history, and respects it. So absolutely, yeah. Like I said, that first issue has you wondering where the hell is Captain America, but then by the end of it, it's great. I love this run. Let's move on to
Phantom Maximus with the answer there. Quasar ended a year before Grunwald's Cap.
Yeah, so unfortunately it was the last thing he wrote, and then he was editor. He had a lot. Plus they were about to hit a lot of layoffs by the time he had to let some people go, which probably led into his heart attack because of stress. It sucks. I love that guy, man. I've never read a bad Mark Waid comic. For me, he's definitely one of those writers that I have a hard time finding bad stuff that he's written. Avengers by Hickman, Volume 1. I'm going to let you talk about this because you were just
I was just
yap about Big Daddy Hickman or whatever the hell you call him. What makes this run so great?
Well, this is great because Hickman starts off with Avengers in Decadent phase. A lot of runs build up to Avengers in Decadent phase where it's like everybody's an Avenger. Hickman opens up on a data page to be like, there's going to be 18. And that just actually expands in scope as this run continues. But this run, I mean, I remember being on the CBR boards and talking with him about it and his Q&A at the time. And we all noticed in the promo art that a lot of stuff was showing Earth from far away. And we're like, is this an Avengers team that's big enough to really defend the whole Earth? And he said, you'll see. And it really was. I mean, the first issue takes us to Mars and the scope of it just grows and grows and grows from there. But the great thing about that's different than that McKay run, which I also really love, is that they didn't just pick big heavy hitting Avengers. I mean, you still see Cap front and center on that cover. You still see Black Widow. You still see Spider-Woman. So it's not like they just picked these intergalactic heavy hitter kind of like Vision and Scarlet Witch style Avengers. I mean, there are still street level heroes here. Shang-Chi is in this run on the Avengers that are kind of like mixed in and still get thrown into these other settings. The other extraordinary thing about this is that it mixes 2 ongoing Avengers titles and they're presented here in perfect Hickman approved reading order. One of them is the main Avengers title. One of them is New Avengers, which really those of us who have comic book experience could think of as the Illuminati, because it's taking the echoes of what were the Illuminati in Brian Bendis's run of Avengers and showing them dealing with an all new, all different problem here during Marvel Now, which is incursions. So this is, of course, fantastic marketing to tie into the upcoming Avengers films based on what we've seen in the trailers. And it's just a blockbuster run. I mean, there's not a non-thrilling moment in this first one. I think the pacing has some troubles in the second volume. We could have a separate conversation about that when they reprint it. But this is about as exciting as Avengers could possibly get.
Not my favorite run of Avengers, but it is quite excellent. It is big, 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 big time. It is what you were describing as Justice League. You know how, like, we have Justice League problems. We need the Justice League. This really feels like, holy crap, there's only one team that can handle this. And his name is Wolverine. No, just kidding. And we need the Avengers. It actually makes sense. This is a great era. Plus, you get freaking New Mutants in here graduating. Sam and Bobby. Woo! Yes, absolutely. Would you say it's fantastic? I still prefer his Fantastic Four over this. And I do think it gets really convoluted. It can get confusing as hell, especially when you get into the time runs out era. You're like, whoa, am I missing issues? What's happening?
Yeah, it's
because, well, and then there's also the Avengers world, right? So I mean, you can be a little bit lost in this, but that's okay. I mean, to me, that's also part of the charm and fun of this. And yeah, it's a great run. And for anybody that has missed it, I will triple make sure to let Marvel know about the A from the second printing. I know all about it. I had to hear it on my video, but I promise you all, if they do a second printing of the second omnibus, I will let them know that the A's line up. Somebody brought up a most excellent point earlier, and I don't know who it was. Oh, here we go. One wheelchair. Mark Waid did write Onslaught. Look, here's the thing. I love Jeff Lemire. I do not like Jeff Lemire's X-Men. I love Ed Brubaker. I'm not the biggest fan of Ed Brubaker's X-Men. We can do this all day. It is hard to write X-Men.
And in fact, One Wheel Tracks and I did do it all day earlier this week on Crushing Crisis, the channel where we spent 4 hours ranking every flagship X-Men writer of all time. Don't you want to know who we ranked as the worst X-Men writer of all time? You have to go and watch the video.
I do want to know, because you and I do not share the same opinion. You are a monster. Why the Hickman didn't put Night Mask in Imperial? Oh my gosh, I was waiting for Bobby to show up and play a bigger part in Imperial too. And then that freaking Nova Centurion series. Did you ever read any of the stuff post Imperial Crisis?
No, I'm still catching up on that right now on Marvel Unlimited.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. My thoughts.
I mean, McKay writes a great Nova, so I'm not shocked.
Dude, he's wearing a new Warriors hat immediately. I'm like, yep, that's my rider. I like it. Omar, what is your opinion on Mike Carey's X-Men? Excellent, underrated. Love X-Men. X-Men Legacy by Mike Carey. Go and check out his Hellblazer too. Does Wade have the uncensored 14 on the printed version? Does Wade Omni? It does. It has it in the Omni and in the. Does it have it in? It also has it in the Epic Collection too. Oh yeah, baby.
This is a big deal.
Look at that Andy Kubert cover, dude. Wolverine: The Return of Weapon X. Now this is different than the Weapon X Omnibus. It's called Weapon X: The Return Omnibus, so it can get a little confusing. It does a little bit of double dipping. I'm thinking about 9 issues. Would you say, Crisis? Because a lot of this feeds into that because it's all Frank Terry.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much volume 8.
Yes.
Wrapping up the first Wolverine era. And it is insane to think about that volume 1 came out, no reprint for 10 years, and then they reprinted it. And then ever since then, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 2027. I did see some comments about, what was it, Wolverine Exile being added to this.
Oh, I'm ready with the breakdown. Put me in, coach.
Okay, hold on. It was something I didn't agree with.
Mitsuke.
Oh, the Wolverine Elektra book. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, I think that belongs in the Greg Rucka run. Like,
oh yeah, that would not make sense here. They're wrong. Everybody was wrong who said that.
And then, but the other one that I thought about was maybe Wolverine, and I never went back and thought about it more, but the Wolverine Exile. I recently performed a ritual. I purchased the final 2 Wolverine epics. You're welcome. Puddin' Tame, we thank you for your sacrifice.
All right, so I
All
guess
right.
here's where I explain why everybody was
Here it
wrong. So I did
Why
a
everybody was wrong.
deep
Okay, go on.
dive into this for the Tiger Eyes poll because we wanted to get the mapping right. So let's just talk about first the core of the Wolverine stuff that was going to be in here was always indisputable. It was always going to have Wolverine 1 to 50 or 159 to 189. It was always going to have annual 2000 and 2001. It was always going to be highly likely to have Wolverine the Origin, even though that's a throwback to the far past because this omnibus series has always collected all Wolverine stuff in publishing order. Then, within looking at publishing order, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 miniseries that are the next 7 Wolverine things that happen between here and where the next omnibus starts. So we had to go through each one and say, is it likely to be here or not? The first one is Wolverine Hulk 2002, which is a Marvel Knight series. It fits after issue 182, but again, that's reading order, not release order. That series is here, so that makes sense. That's the next thing we would have expected. Then there's Sabretooth Mary Shelley Overdrive in 2002. Wolverine does not appear at all. There have been some Sabretooth books previously collected in this Wolverine Omnibus line, but they didn't collect it. I think that's fine. One day we'll get a Sabretooth Omnibus, or they maybe could put it at the end of an X Factor Omnibus. Who knows? The next book, and this is the one that's not there, is Wolverine. I think I don't know if it's Netsuke or Netsuke, but it is an original graphic. Yeah, it's not an original graphic novel. It is a mini series, and it was the next thing to release, and it was 4 issues. That is the one that we're all kind of surprised is not here because it was the next one to release, and it in reading order it fits after 186. So I don't know why they would leave it out. Maybe they think it'll be a better conceptual fit in the next omnibus. Then the next thing Logan appears in is Hulk Wolverine 6 Hours in 2003. That is also here, even though technically in reading order, that would be in the next series. Then the next thing he's in is Wolverine Dupe 2003. That is also here. And then Exile, which people are asking for, is the next thing in reading order, but that's fine. It'll fit into the next omnibus because it doesn't need to be read until after issue number 6 of the next omnibus. And then the next thing after Exile is Wolverine Snicked, which again fits in just fine with the next omnibus because it doesn't need to be read until after issue number 6 in that omnibus. So the only true surprise here is the lack of Wolverine Netsuke. Omar, any thoughts on why they didn't include it? They've included every other Wolverine thing in this run of omnibuses.
So Netsuke's the one, is that the one that's painted by Gary, or not Gary, was it maybe George Pratt?
George Pratt, yeah.
It was like a 3-issue miniseries. I don't know, because I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a Marvel Knights book. If it was a Marvel Knights book, it might fit better with the next omnibus because we know that Wolverine started as a Marvel Knights book with Greg Rucka and Derek Robertson. Maybe that's their thinking. I'd be more than happy to ask though, because I don't want it, I don't want any.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't branded Knights, and one of these books is a Marvel Knights book. The Wolverine Hulk, the Wolverine Hulk miniseries is the Marvel Knights.
Well, even the Punisher's a Marvel Knight book.
Yeah, so, those couple of issues from Punisher. So yeah, I don't know.
And honestly, I've only read it one time. I have the single issues. I think they were done in a premiere format, so I cannot answer. I'm hoping for a new Penance versus Onslaught Civil War maxi series written by Mark Miller. May just get this for Wolverine Dupe. I am intrigued. Oh my god, for the 2-issue miniseries. Scott Summers is Marvel's Carrie Bradshaw in the original series, and Miranda and just like I understood that reference. I have all the Wolverine Omnis except for one, and it drives me crazy. I can't sleep at night. I am so sorry. I think when they reprint Volume 1, they'll probably give us the new logo. Because when they reprinted Volume 2, they gave us the new logo. So hopefully they will reprint it in the next batch of books. They know how much, what the hell is Wolverine Dupe? It's exactly Wolverine and Dupe hanging out. Because there's only one person that can understand Dupe, and you guessed it. It's Wolverine. And it's such a weird dichotomy. It's also been collected. It was collected in the Ecstatics Omnibus. Yeah, it was. Here's the other crazy thing. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It is the only time Darwin Cook has ever drawn Wolverine.
That may be
Darwin Cook drawing Wolverine in Wolverine Dupe. Written by Peter
Are you
Bendis.
not even going to comment on this special intel that we just got from our correspondent, our Canadian correspondent, Curtis?
Schnick is licensed out to Viz. Natsuke might be as well, but Natsuke wasn't a manga. Remember, Schnick was actually done by the dude that did Biomega, and it was always marketed as a manga. Curtis, get in here.
Natsuke also is on Marvel Unlimited, so you could go read it right now.
Yeah. So, final answer. Dupe is poop. Where is Max? If Max heard you say that, he would be... Whatever happened to Dupe?
He's around.
Well, Peter Milligan never came back to write any more stories is what happened to Dupe. I think Wolverine hires Dupe to shoot his sex video. I think that might have been the... There he is. I will end you. Was Snick part of the Tsunami line? Now you got another part of my brain thinking. I don't think it was marketed that way. I think it was just marketed as a manga that featured a Marvel character.
Man, I'm paging
through Natsuke. Biomega and Blame, same guy.
And it is so cool looking.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think it was in continuity. And that one actually has been reprinted by Viz.
I think it is.
I had no idea Darwin Cook did any Marvel stuff. He did. And that is the only place you're going to see it. All right. Most Wanted, Omnis, and reprint poll standing. So here we go.
All right. So here's the top 60 from this year's Tiger Eyes Marvel Most Wanted. I don't know why I hyphen between Marvel and Most. Marvel Most Wanted Omnibus. So usually in the top 60, by the end of the year, we wind up with somewhere in the area of like 15 to 20%, I think has been the last few years. So let's look at where these announcements leave us. First of all, at the very top, number 1, Indiana Jones. It turns out we didn't get it in Omnibus. We got it in that beautiful slipcase set of hardcovers. So that's probably not also going to get an Omnibus this next year. Then we got number 10 in the set of announcements, Punisher by Rucka. We got 13 in this announcement, Big Time, which we on the poll had by Dan Slott, but Marvel doesn't have by Dan Slott. We got number 25, Age of Krakoa. We got number 34, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 8, quite surprisingly keeping up that year-over-year pace. We got number 50, Marvel Team Up, and with the announcement of the compact books today, we kind of got a form of Ultimate Marvel Universe Year 1 collected, which is what was voted at number 57. Of course, not in omnibus form, but Marvel still has that on the release schedule in the form of those compact comics. So of course, we had many other omnibus announced that we just went through in this whole presentation, but in terms of omnibuses in the top 60, so far we've got 5. So if we get another 5 in the back half of the year, we'll have 10 from the top 60, which will be a 6th, which would, be in keeping with what we usually get. But if you go to the next slide, we also have the reprint poll. And on the reprint poll, Marvel took a pretty big swing at the top 20. They gave us the number 1 most demanded. And again, I don't know why I hyphen between Marvel and most. It was late at night. Okay. Don't blame me.
Okay. You're just being extra.
I know, one hyphen misplaced, and I'm like, well, that's the death penalty. I'm never going to appear in New Mint edition again. No one will ever speak to me again because they put a hyphen between the wrong words.
Not because that's how things. Because your bad takes on Days of Future Past.
So we got our number 1 most demanded book, which is amazing. But then also they took a swing at some of the stuff lower down in the top 20. I find that so interesting that they attacked a whole cluster down there and nothing in the middle, because there's certainly similar books to that in the middle. Like they're choosing X-Men Inferno over Uncanny X-Men Volume 1. They're and then also Captain America there. There's no other Captain America in the top 20, so maybe that's why. But it's really interesting to see, and I'm curious to see if they maybe knock out another 3 or 4 in the remainder of the year when we get there.
And at any time, they can add things.
Yeah, reprints do not take the same amount of lead time to add to the catalog as first print omnibuses.
As we saw this last year, whenever I announced 5 reprints out of nowhere, some of them coming from our top 20 and some of them coming from absolutely nowhere. They just thought, hey, we need to go ahead and get new printings out of these. So, oh my God, if I hear Punisher Max. I told that story of who asked me about Punisher Max, didn't I? Steve Wacker. Steve Wacker asked me, when are we going to get a Punisher Max Omnibus Volume 2? One of my highlights of San Diego Comic-Con.
Doesn't Steve Wacker, isn't he the one who can decide that now, technically, by job title?
He's the new editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, and I thought it was so hilarious that, of all people, he stopped at my at the table when I was having lunch with DC. When are we going to get that Punisher Max Omnibus Volume 2? And Melanie, who is my wife and has face blindness, had no idea who he was. She thought it was just somebody that worked at, because he had a Midtown Comics t-shirt. She thought it was a guy that worked at Midtown Comics.
I love that.
So that is your presentation for this round. And I want to ask people in the chat, what are you most excited for? I'm going to start with, let me know what you're most excited for this round. I'm going to start with my co-host, Crisis. What's the book that's got you all excited? What's the book that you're like, yes, please?
I mean, just because I work so closely with you and Tiger Eyes and everybody in the poll, I think the announcement of that Greg Rucka Punisher Omnibus is like finally, I want to see them unfreeze the Punisher stuff. Like he's in media right now. I think we can celebrate him for the character that he is, that he's entertaining, without celebrating him for anything that he's not. Personally, I spent a lot of time tracking down all the trades that are in this, and I don't have any other oversized Punishers. So for me, it's not a bookshelf book, but I'm excited for everybody to get it and to experience it, because those trades have been so long out of print and they've never been recollected. And I like what it means for Punisher. So altruistically, that's my pick. Personally, I'm excited for them to complete the Wolverine Omnibus line for his 1988 series. I think that's really cool, especially since it took you basically making a bet with David Gabriel to even get them to kickstart that line. I mean, we never thought we were even going to get a volume 2, and here's a volume 8, and it's done. We made it. We did it.
I was just texting David and told him how much I miss his emails. But
Aww.
this right here, this is the one for me. This, I think it is the reason that this channel means so much to me, is because of books like this. Is it good material? Probably not. No, it's not that great material. There's some stuff in here that's really bad, but then there's some stuff in here that's solid. Plus, that Wolverine 6 Hours is great. The whole Wolverine 6 Hours is phenomenal. But it really symbolizes that relationship with Marvel Comics and everything that came from it. And hopefully there will be more in the future. Yeah, what started as a joke is, you never have to talk to me ever again if Wolverine Omnibus Volume 1 reprint does not sell. Because they were worried, right? They were like, he was like, it did not sell well.
Oh yeah, they were like, the Wolverine's not a seller, and classic Wolverine
seller.
is not a seller in Omnibus.
And I had to remind him that was 10 years ago. I promise it will sell.
I remember I bought it as a closeout from Amazon. I think I got it for like $20 on Amazon my first year of collecting. I wasn't going to buy omnibuses. I'm like, they're so big. Who needs those? But then I was like, oh, it is a lot of material, and it's a lot of it's, I'd have to track down a bunch of trades, and it has Spider-Man versus Wolverine. I'm going to get it for $20. And that was my first Marvel Omnibus, was the original printing of Wolverine Volume 1.
So yeah, and I don't know if he took me serious. I was like, you never have to listen to me ever again if it doesn't sell. But if it does sell, could we get a volume 2?
Nice.
And now we got a volume 8. That just kind of brings it home. It's awesome. I mean, and I think that's the way I've lived most of my life, whether it's professional or whether it's personal. Kind of sometimes taking a bet on myself. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. Woo, I got plenty of speeding tickets, and oh man. Anyway, but yeah, this one means a lot to me. But Punisher is a close second. Like, seriously, Punisher is a close second. It is quite excellent. Where's the Scarlet Spider-Man Omnibus? New Warriors Forever. That's right, Nick. Never forget that, my friend. And let me get one more super chat, and then we can see what people are excited for. You say news about... Did I see the news about C.B. Cebulski made a new Marvel manga with Karakoa 5 series? So far, it's Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen. I do hope Weird World manga would be crazy. Because Weird World is... It's your mom telling you, we've got ElfQuest at home. We don't need ElfQuest. We got ElfQuest.
That is so funny.
And that legit is that's the only way I can describe Weird World. The Ken over Logan. Where's this conversation coming from? What is this? All right, let me see what other people are excited for. And we can start, wrapping this up. When does the Tube get his own omnibus? It's called Ecstatics. Ecstatics Epic. I like that. And Snicked was Tsunami. And let's see here. Hey, how are you doing, Batnessa? 11, are we right? Omar's going to make the Civil War Omni. I don't know about that. And Justice for the Masterworks reprints. Okay, not enough Daredevil. Never enough Daredevil. That's true. Do we have a recap of the slide? Oh, you kind of do here. Okay.
Yeah, but that's only the stuff that's in like the top 60.
Yeah, better not leave that up. Somebody might get confused.
Yeah. I could throw in another slide while you talk to everybody.
Don't worry about it.
No, I have it. Just you just talk.
Okay.
You just talk pretty, Omar.
Okay. Here we go. Ice cream cake is what you're most excited for. Same. Doom and Dracula would be my first Marvel. Well, the first one is in print. Get it while you can. Daredevil by Soul. Punisher Rucka. Captain America Wade. Danny Ketch. Baby. Oh, yeah. Krakoa stuff. Nothing. They all suck. Is this Warren? Did Warren take over Ryan's account? What the? And the Punisher. X-Men Age of Krakoa. Big time Spider-Man. Enter the War Zone. Big time are books I'm getting. Patiently waiting for the Earth X Omnibus reprint. I like that you threw patiently waiting. Captain America by Wade. And Ghost Rider. Marvel Comics presents Rucka Punisher. Hulk 4. Cap by Wade. Danny Ketch 3. And Punisher Rucka. Spider-Man Big Time. Danny Ketch 3. Ghost Rider Danny Ketch. X of Swords. Reign of X2. Captain America by Wade. Ron Garney. And Punisher Warzone by Greg Rucka. Spider-Man Big Time. Punisher. Marvel Team Up. Deadpool by Kelly. Cap by Wade. Iron Man by Layton. That Deadpool by Kelly, man, that is cutting it close to your 1999 deadline. Cutting it close. Daredevil by Soul. Ghost Rider 3. Crisis Not Saying Raoul's Runaways was not on my bingo card.
Great run.
Daredevil by Soul. Captain America Wade. The Krakoa stuff. Clone Wars and Wolverine. I was excited to see Darkhawk Omnibus on 2 lists today. Come on, Marvel. Give us Chris Powell. Oh, I know the wheeze. I want it too, man. I'm most excited for Crisis' stream on Sunday. Oh, what's your stream about?
I don't know yet. I wanted to do a fantasy draft update.
Somebody's already excited and they don't know what it is?
Well, because we don't know if it's fantasy draft. It depends on if DC drops the catalog or not.
Well, if DC drops the catalog, I'm going to beat you to it. I'm going to start my live stream 15 minutes before you start your live stream. I'll do clickbait. Reign of X Volume 2, Battle World Volume 4, and Daredevil by Charles Soule. One World Under Doom. How is David doing? David is enjoying his retirement. He is having a blast. Well, never mind. I'm probably not allowed to share some of the things that he's told me. But we had a conversation, me, him, and Melanie, for an hour the other day. And then we were just texting. He was just texting to see he's reading so many comics and reading books right now. Very jealous of him.
I think people forget that like people in the industry are in this industry because they like comics, but it's such a grind to not only get out all of the monthly comics, but all of the collections and stuff that everybody's responsible for, that often they just want some time at home to read comics, just like the rest of us. And so they're like, yeah, I'm reading comics. That's what else would I be doing?
Ghost Rider Volume 3, Deadpool by Kelly, Captain America. Tell David we need him on NMC. I think he said a few more months and he'll be happy to jump on. So,
ooh, special correspondent David Gabriel.
Yeah, and he can let it all out. He can talk about, David never speaks ill of the company though. He just, he's just straight up like tells you the way things work and why they do certain things. And maybe you all can learn a little bit. Give David Dom's job. I don't know if David can pull together a slideshow quite like my buddy Dom. Definitely want Star Wars 2, Rucka Punisher, and hopefully we get... How is Big Time not up there for you, Samantha? We need them because we can't afford dumbbells to work out. Great job, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Kiwi Comics. Excellent job, Omar in Crisis. I need Omar representing himself in court now. Woo! I've done that a couple of times, my dude. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. That's why I have one of my best friends as a lawyer. Looking forward to Star Wars Omnis, Ghost Rider, and Incredible Hulk. Cat by Wade and Ron Gardner. Totally need ElfQuest. What's ElfQuest? Ooh. It's a comic series by Wendy and Richard Pini. It's great fantasy stuff. What is ElfQuest? Is this an old person thing? You know what? It's all free to read, too.
Is it? What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Back up the truck. It's free to read? Where?
On their website. If you go to their website,
Really?
a lot of it is free to read. Yeah. Like, because they are so sweet. They always comment on my videos when I talk about ElfQuest. But yeah, they donated like all their art to one of the, I can't remember the university, but yeah. Wade will complete my cap. Wolverine, Wade's cap. Cap by Wade, Punisher Warzone, Cap and Hulk 4, Reign of X2, X of Swords. And let me do this really quick, and I'll do a quick reload. All the way at the end, Crisis?
Yep.
Okay. So to kind of give you all a quick recap, look at this, look at this. There we go.
Oh, it's the wrong headline. No, hide it again. Let me fix it. Don't make me more ashamed.
Strike 2. You're not an Eisner Award nominee.
No, I'm certainly not.
Marvel Team Up. Oh, yeah. I've mostly been...
All right. Reload it again.
Marvel very well. I'm a DC nerd. Oh, Vanessa, you need to get in with Marvel. A lot of cool kids read Marvel comics. Excited for Marvel Team Up 2 and Cap by Wade. Hoping for Spectacular 2. Amazing Epics 14 and 16. Now can I do it again?
Yes, you should be good now.
Okay. At stage and slideshow presentation. There we go. So this gives you a quick recap of everything we talked about. Hulk with the DM cover. Oh, yeah, that's the one. And Chris, can you give me a crunch of like the numbers? Like, let's compare this to last year. Now, keep in mind, of course, you know, they had some layoffs and the whole thing with moving to California. This has slowed down a lot of the process. But compared to last year, what would you say the output is for Omnis to last year?
Well, we've got 18 new first printing Omnis on this list, not looking at reprints, only looking at new. Now, Of course, originally 2 of them were originally scheduled for 2026, but we accept them into the 2027 fold. So that's 18 for the first 6 months. If the 6 months went exactly to pace as the next 6 months, we'll wind up with 36 books. That will put us on pace for around where we were in 2020 and 2021. So in 2020, we had 33 first print new omnibuses. In 2021, we had 43 first print new omnibuses, so we'll be directly in between there. It only escalated from 2021 onward. 2022, we had 58, all the way up to last year, we had 65. So I think that's a healthy thing. You know, a lot of us, of course, we all want to see our number one favorite books released. Like, everybody wants that. But I think what a lot of us have been talking about is, like, you know, seeing so many things discounted, seeing so many things on certain eBay sellers kind of means that maybe Marvel is not only setting the print runs too high, but is also trying to put out too many books at once. And if you're somebody who is, I remember somebody earlier in the stream said, I only have budget for one omnibus that month, and they're putting out Reign and X of Swords in the same month, then you're not going to buy both of them. So something that's interesting here is not only tacking a little bit downward in just the total volume, but also a lot of these, I think you heard us say, they have an exact comparable for how many of this got printed. It's a sequel to something pretty recent. Something I think we often overlook is when a book gets a sequel or a next volume really soon after the previous volume. That doesn't just make us happy as fans because we get to fill up our shelves. It also makes the Marvel or DC happy because they know exactly how much to print. That means the prior volume is a comparable. One of the challenges of when they only put out a sequel to an omnibus 4, 5, 6 years later is they can't look at the print run of the one that came before and go, oh, we'll just print as many as that one. There's so many new fans in the industry. Some fans might have left the industry. The character got hotter, colder, or farther away from a movie. They have nothing to base it on. But when they release a Grunwald cap every year, they can kind of ballpark it on the previous one. When they release an Amazing Spider-Man classic omnibus every year, they can kind of ballpark it on the previous one. So I think the healthiest thing about this is not necessarily that it's slightly fewer omnibuses, although I don't like that. I want our obscure stuff. I want our Dark Hawk, right? But I like that. There are some obscure picks in here. What the is about as obscure as it gets, but they actually kind of lean a little heavier towards the greatest hits. We did not see, did we see anything from the bottom half of the poll in this list? Like, these are all pretty demanded books. So that is my lengthy take on it. It's lower, and I think we have to be realistic about the why of that. But I also think we have to be realistic about the fact that that's not necessarily a bad thing. And Omar, I don't know if you want to share this or not, but this is Crisis's own back of napkin math here. So if you want to see what I was just talking about visually.
I do.
Okay.
So let me get that.
So let me make that a little bit bigger. Ooh, okay. So this is my own tally that's from when I put together the fantasy draft. On the left, you can see the escalation of Marvel's release slate and just how big that jump in the initial part of the pandemic was, from that 33 in 2020 to the 43 in 2021, and how it has just climbed and climbed and climbed. I don't think it's rational or healthy for us to keep getting any higher than that. But as you can see, even though 36 feels a lot lower, I mean, it's just about a little bit over half, it's still a lot more than what came before. And then you have my personal, this is just me, Omar didn't approve this, ranking of the popularity of the books that come out. I went through every book and I graded its potential popularity based on how well it's sold, how well it's known, how well it was received, how often it's still talked about. So we can see here that the number 5, the books that are so popular that they're potentially evergreen, we can see that they form the core of Marvel, and Marvel never goes too crazy on those. Even in a big year like last year, the potential evergreen books were relatively low. Then there's things that I graded a 4. Everybody likes them. They're going to sell well. They're probably going to sell out in their first 12-month frame. Then there's this middle group, the green, the 3s, the books that kind of create the sales. That's always been the majority of the books. Marvel has never released an all bangers year. There's no year Marvel has ever had where every book is a banger. Even if we go all the way back to the beginning, there's always been some average and niche books. Then we go to things I graded as the 2, pretty niche. And then the things that are in purple are things that I graded number 1, pretty obscure, at least to get into an omnibus, even if we all know what it is, like the Marvel Age omnibus, pretty obscure pick for an omnibus. So I'll be grading the 2027 books like this when I come back and do my fantasy draft, but it's just interesting to look at because I haven't done the grading yet, but just looking at this slate of 18, I think they trend a little more popular than Marvel's books have trended in the past. So that's the kind of stuff I do in my if you're ever interested in seeing that kind of a deep dive, that's what we're doing on Sundays.
That wasn't a napkin. I was really disappointed.
Where was the napkin?
A napkin. And let's see here. There was a question about the DC stuff. And will there be a DC show for Omnis? Yes, we are doing the entire catalog next Friday. I have a meeting with DC tomorrow. So I'm not sure. I can't say what it is about, but I don't know if it's going to affect this round of the catalog or maybe the next round. But we will be talking about that next Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, the entire DC catalog. And yeah, Crisis will be here. Dom will be here. I believe a couple of new faces will be here because I want to know what the youth is buying. I want to know what the young folks are reading and what they're excited about. Why the current writers at Marvel can't invest into niche characters?
Niche.
I mean, they've tried. Jed McKay has tried. No, you know what though? I think they do. Like Philip Kennedy Johnson, and also what's the run I just read? Ryan North bringing back some obscure characters. I think it really depends on the writer and how long they're allowed to stay on a book. Nowadays, I don't know if it's gonna be like this forever, but it seems like if you're writing 10 issues of an ongoing series, you're doing really well at Marvel Comic. I don't know why. What's up, D. Marcel? How you doing, brother? Is
You know,
everyone a young person compared to Omar? Wow. You too,
I mean,
James?
something to look at in terms of niche characters is that at DC, they really made sure that the core of their line was really simmering, had a lot of good writers on it, had long running books before we started getting these next level books that are for some of the smaller characters like Batwoman or Deadman or Lobo. And I think that Marvel for a long time was so used to being the dominant market force that they were like, well, it doesn't matter if we have good, strong books out for our main characters that are long running. We're just going to put out whatever book we want. And I think you saw that strategy at play with the Imperial books, where they're like, we're going to have an
Yeah.
Imperial Guard book. We're going to have She-Hulk in space. We're going to have Nova. And those books, by most retailer accounts, kind of took a beating on the market and just didn't find their market. And at the same time, Marvel has some ongoing books for their ongoing titles that are only making it like 10 issues. And I think altogether that's made them very hesitant to launch into the market with a lineup of really niche books compared to DC, because Marvel's really struggling to get the balance of the basics right. DC is operating from the strength of not only the Absolute line, which is doing absolutely killer sales, but also like their core of like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League. It's all doing great. So DC can afford to stretch a little bit right now. At some point, they will overextend themselves and there'll be a correction. That's just the way things happen. But Marvel, unfortunately, kind of like can't even afford a little bit of an extension right now. They got to just lock down the main part of the run. And with all these changes going on at Marvel, maybe we'll get that. You know me to be a Marvel zombie. I'm never rooting against them. It never gives me pleasure to get on the screen and scream about how dumb they are. I want to see their books do really well. And all of the characters I love the most are at Marvel. So my hope is that we can get back to a point that we have lots of healthy core books at Marvel. And when the core books are healthy, then there's headroom to do some more niche titles.
It seems like that pendulum always swings one way,
Oh,
right? It's
yeah.
like, oh, here's Marvel's time to shine, and they shone really bright for a long time, whether it was collected editions or single issues. And then, of course, the pendulum is now on DC's side. All the indie books are in the middle. But yeah, it's just the way nature of the beast, right? Although I would love to get back to that '80s era of both companies just putting out the best material possible, with, of course, selfishly, the best collected editions. I do not get a senior discount. I don't even get free coffee. I'm pretty sure Omar's the same age as my dad. You know what? Your dad's a very young guy. The problem isn't the writers being unable to invest in niche characters. It's Marvel being able to invest into any character for longer. Well, that's why I made the comment about 10 issues. It seems like 10 issues. It's crazy. Christopher Yost is coming back to X-Men.
I'm hyped.
Just crazy, with one of my favorite artists of all time, Tony S. Daniel.
Tony Daniel. Yeah.
Love that dude. He just did an arc. Well, I just read it in trade, but of X-Men by Jen McKay. And I forgot how much of a badass he was at Marvel. And when Will Conrad was inking his stuff on X-Force, ooh, I love that stuff. Black Cat is going to 20 now. Ooh,
the power of GW Wilson. She has got major cachet in the market right now, and people are showing up for her books.
Maximum X-Men. I think what is that title called?
Yeah, Maximum
X-Men. Yeah, it comes out in December. I don't know if Jen McKay is leaving the title. I don't know if Uncanny is ending. I'm not sure. All I know is that is the new title by Chris Yost. Maximum X-Men. Sure, I'll take it. Plus, it's Chris Yost. I do miss Kyle and Yost together, though. Omar, I want to give you a big congrats on the NMC exclusive cover for Stray Dogs. Thank you, my dude. My question is, being from Canada, is there any way you partner? Well, we tried, but BD Cosmos and then King's Comics in Australia, I think it's because the book costs more. They just couldn't justify it. But let me see if BD Cosmos can do like a special order or something. It's something weird that Lunar has about they can only ship to like 2 stores or something like that. So TV shows are doing short seasons as well. I think
there's a positive in the season model. Like if it's deliberate, if you say, and I think that we saw this with what DC did with Absolute, with Martian Manhunter, they're like, it's a hit, we're extending it to 12. Just today, they announced that the current Dead Man series, which is only 3 issues in, they're like, it's a hit, we're extending it to 12. I think that sets a realistic expectation with people when you just say like, hey, we start as a limited series and it's doing pretty well, so we're going to tell 2 and get out. They did the same thing with Dark Patterns. Marvel's kind of doing the opposite, where they're like, it's an ongoing going, no, just kidding, it's 10. No, just kidding, it's 8. Like, no, that's very disappointing to people psychologically. I think with short seasons of TV shows, I mean, look at Beef on Netflix, where they're like, it's a limited series show, and they won Emmys in limited series, and then they were like, surprise, we're doing Beef season 2. Like, that's just so much more palatable as an audience member to be told, surprise, you like this so much, we're making more, than to be saying this is ongoing and then hear that it was canceled.
Oh, this is interesting. Oh, well, this just piqued my interest. Christopher Yost had an interview with AIPT's X Monday. They did ask him about Vance Astrovich. Vance, who will lead humanity in a war as, of course, Major Victory. But long before that, he was Marvel Boy and Justice fighting for the New Warriors. He is a mutant.
Is it the same Vance Astrovich? I always thought that it was like a future one.
Yeah, I mean, it's
same.
It's the one that wrestled with the Thing, and he'll become Major Victory.
Oh, but are you talking about the one that's in Jim Valentino's Guardians?
Yeah, that guy. That's
I thought it was like a legacy character. I don't think I ever realized they were the same.
Yeah, it's the same guy. Like, okay. There's even an issue in.
Does that mean he lives forever?
No, he gets put into. Remember when they find him, like in
no,
ice?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
It's been a long Omar. It has been over 30 years since I read that issue.
Oh, okay, yeah. New Warriors. You need to read more New Warriors. Okay.
Well,
it's not
Omar,
that actually
as you decided to spoil on the stream last time,
I didn't know it was like a secret.
Since you decided that I can't have my own secrets in my own life, Omar, you spoiled that upcoming on a haul around the world that I got New Warriors Volume 1 because I found
I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have been
the original cover. You know, because I decided it might never be an epic collection, and I don't want to live that life. And so I got all of the New Warriors omnibuses, including Night Thrasher and Nova. Thank you very much.
Well, I did. Guys, that's not how I have to pitch it to him. Because the minute I say alternate timeline, he's going to be like, I don't want to read it anymore.
Fetch the paper shredder. I don't need that New Warriors omnibus anymore.
It's not the way Crisis' brain works for some reason. Thanks, Omar. You ruined Crisis' fun. You sound like Crisis' mom. I didn't mean to. I didn't know I was supposed to click on it. I wasn't feeling good that day, and that's my excuse.
No, you were not. You were not. I'm surprised we got
went on the stream. You know, that's the second stream I've done with you where I was feeling like I remember it was the Marvel reprint poll that we kicked off.
Oh, that one was...
Oh my god, that was awful. That was a couple of years ago, and I'm like, I messaged you, and I'm like, I am sick as a dog, but I promised people we would kick it off today, and we still did it. I don't know how the hell I did it. I think I drank a lot of Dayquil that day. For this one, I ended up getting a little bit of the con crud, but doing the stream did make me feel better. I was just, oh my god, I was done, dude. Feel sorry.
I've just learned that I need to it's like going for a long run. Like I have to carb up and make sure I have enough blood sugar to get through sitting here and talking and looking cheerful. I gotta have I feel like I need one of those protein goo packets for the middle to keep my energy up, because it's so yeah. I think sometimes when you're not feeling well and you go into one of these and then you realize you're gonna be sitting in the same chair for 3 or 4 hours, it's an endurance sport. And so I've learned. I had my sugar this morning. I had my protein this morning.
I figured at your age you probably have a pan, right? To pee in and stuff.
I mean, I don't ever get up from this. This is my permanent chair. Yeah.
Dayquil's amazing. You know what? If I had bourbon in the house, I definitely would have taken a shot of bourbon with some honey, because that's what I needed. Kicking myself for not getting the New Warriors when I saw it at Ollie's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, but here's the thing. If you could go back in time, I could kick myself for not getting every single copy of Sequin 2 when it was clearance at Target for, what was it, $6.50. Kicking myself for not getting all the copies of the Oz Omnibus for, I think it was $6 at freaking Ollie's. Amanda ended up getting one copy of it.
Well, it's so hard because you don't want to just buy everything and be that. I mean, you turn into a hoarder, which I feel like this room is becoming. I'm out of shelf space. I'm literally out. But sometimes you see something for $6 and you're like, I should probably buy that for $6.
Right, and give it to somebody. Well, yeah. I remember when Jim Lee's X-Men Volume 1 went to Ollie's.
Got discounted. Yeah.
Yeah, discounted. Now people want it back in print. Same thing with Star Wars. I just announced Star Wars this morning. I went to a convention and pride got the better of me, where the guy would not, because Star Wars went to liquidation, all volumes of Star Wars, including the UK book. The guy had Star Wars Omnibus Volumes 1, 2, 3, and the UK book, and he wanted 100 and I think 125 for it. He would not go down to $100. I even said I'm willing to go to 115, but the fact that he would not go any down any further, no sir. I walked away. So we've all been there. We've all regretted it.
Well, now of course it cost $80 to ship the thing to me. So even if I get it like on Fanaticals, or like I'm like, maybe I should get the Marvel Age Omnibus. It's down to like $20. I love editorial stuff and articles and things. It's great for research. And then the shipping is like as much as a whole other omnibus. I ordered 2 Tank Girl trades from America and the shipping was like an omnibus. So you count your lucky stars, people. If you live in countries that actually have these books and you can go to stores or order them from local people in Canada, the UK, US, man, those of us in other countries, we're doing it hard. Our friends in South America, our friends in Turkey, Greece, here in New Zealand, it is not easy to get these books.
Yeah, I mean, that is fact. DCS's New World has jumped up on my reading list because of Omar. I definitely plan on reading it this year. I hope it delivers, and that's what matters, as long as you enjoy it. Anything else to talk about? We will be back next week. We're reviewing X-Men 97. Crisis is joining Oddfell and I on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
And some other special guests.
Yeah, I think we got a couple of other people joining us, which is going to be
including potentially a first-time appearance from someone on near mint condition.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And then we will be back on Friday with a big lineup of panelists. That's next Friday at 6 p.m. going over the entire DC catalog. So, yeah.
I've got one more question, Omar. When are we doing the Buffy stream? When is that Buffy #1? Is it here yet? What?
The book got delayed, I heard, and I asked, and I haven't heard anything. So she's all willing. Let's do it. Let's bring her on right now to talk. None of this has anything to do with her.
I just saw some people in the chat talking about when are they going to be able to get the Buffy book, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not following very closely. I just know that we can't stream about it yet.
Yeah, Buffy. We need to talk about that. So
yeah,
thank you for the stream, Omar and Crisis. Thank you all so much for watching. Seriously, you all make this completely worth it, and doing this stuff with Crisis is just the icing on the cake. And there was a time that Crisis was just done with streaming and everything, and I'm so glad that you're back. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I love doing these things with you, man. It's always a blessing to have you on. You have the crappiest opinions when it comes to writers and books and stories, but I still love you.
And the same is true for you, Omar. I would time after time when I've wanted to take more of a back seat, or especially when I had my injury earlier this year and I couldn't even do this, Omar's like, are you coming back yet? Are you ready to talk about comic books yet? And so are all of you. And it's really meaningful to me. This month, August 26th, 2026 is the 26th anniversary of Crushing Crisis. And it's crazy to think that in my dorm room in the year 2000, which I know tells you how old I am, I invented this site that would become my website and the comic guides and this channel and all of this, and that it was 26 years ago. That is insane. So the stars have really aligned. I'm going to be on Near Mint Condition a ton this month to celebrate the fact that the site is turning 26 years old on the 26th in 2026.
Do I finally get an invite to Crushing Crisis, or
Omar?
Elitist?
He maybe potentially. We still have to work out the contractual stuff, but I think Omar is going to make his first appearance on my channel later this month.
It's gonna be a big deal. I'll wear a suit or something.
Only if you're bringing an announcement.
Oh, that's right. I gotta bring some. I'll make something up and get everybody excited. There'll be an exclusive announcement on Crushing Crisis, and they're
heard it here first. You'll be hearing it on my channel first. But you're here first. Anyway.
I'll wear the X-Men tie. And on that note, thank you everybody for watching. Hit that like button on the way out. And that's it for us. Crisis, where can people find you, my friend?
At Crushing Crisis, Crisis with a K, but Crushing just has a regular old C. CrushingCrisis.com or here on YouTube at Crushing Crisis. I stream every Sunday. If you like the deep dives that I took you on some of the data and the facts on this stream, that is what we do all the time on Sundays on my channel. And you just missed this week me and One Wheelchair X, who's in the comments here, ranking every single flagship X-Men writer ever. It was 4 hours. It was raucous fun, and I'm sure you'll disagree with everything. So go and check it
out. I am the Uncanny Omar. I will be back. I think we do have a live stream on oh, this is really cool. So I'm doing an overview of the Hellblazer by Paul Jenkins Omnibus tomorrow, and then at 7 p.m. I'm interviewing Paul Jenkins.
Whoa, synergy.
Yeah, so pretty cool that worked out. And then I believe on Friday I'm joining a little bit of the indie live stream with Shannon and Dom and Lars. That's at noon. And then I'm interviewing Bob Camp, who's doing the Dark Knight Artist Edition at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So wow. I'll be back on my regular live stream on Saturdays. And yeah, you can't get enough of me. I'm here. I'm back, baby. Back to the Saturday live streams after being gone for 2 weeks. But that's it, everyone. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy and safe out there. We are officially out of here. Have a great day, everybody.